big up, big up, big up, and welcome to the show. I hope everyone is well after that, I will say, calamitous, disastrous weekend that we just had to go through. No one likes to see us lose, much less, let's be honest, no one likes to see us lose to our rivals. So that is in itself another whole nother basket of rotten apples, I guess, or sour grapes. But before we get into those things, and before we get into maybe some of us that are going to air some of our dissatisfaction with the team or the coach or the individual players, I will say that, hey, you know what? Remember, always look in the mirror and say, remember, you are a champion, okay? We are champions. So therefore, despite the fact that we are not in a champion vibe or a champion place at the moment, the reality of it is that we are champions. So let's act like it and let's continue to perspire to continue to be seen as champions. So I would like to start it off like that. We'll see. We'll see if that helps to soften the blow of, I'm sure, some of the rivals. I'm sure the trolls and the rivals that will, or AKA sometimes both, that will join our chat. I'm sure at some point. And for some of us that are losing faith, I would say some of us that are losing faith. Hey. Let's begin the show by saying big up to Lee. We got Lee in the house. How are you?
Sound, mate, I'm good. Despite all the turbulence, I'm quite good. I'm bearing up.
Okay. And like I said before, let's begin the show by saying it straight. To every Red watching, this defeat is beyond deflating. It hurts our title push, certainly. Shakes our confidence maybe as well, and worse, it's a loss at Anfield to our most hated rivals. But we walk with our heads up and still walk like champions. Even if we're not playing like that right now, support our lads to rise and overcome and respond. That's what we're asking for them to do now, is respond. Not sink, but respond. And that's something that we hope to do. And that's something that can only come from encouragement and from support. So we'll start with the boss defending the team that he put out on the pitch. Then we'll hear from our captain before I break down with Lee as well what really happened out there in my perspective, and Lee will give his. And what must change for Liverpool to get back to being Liverpool. All right, so let's get into it. Manager. All right. Arne Slot had to say this. He said starters created plenty in the first half. Subs created even more. Verts creative again. Ekitike close to scoring. Chiesa did really well. Frimpong should have had an assist. Focus shouldn't be on individuals. Focus on the team. He said, focus on the team, on me, not me, but Arne Slot. And everyone's giving it all on the pitch. Now, I know that some of us might say, that is questionable at best, but it is a question of what we do. He's obviously doing, we've seen coaches do this before, Lee, which is deflect for his team, deflect for the individuals that are being kind of subjugated to a lot of criticism, sometimes ridicule, and sometimes even disgusting antics in the social media circles that we partake in. But does deflecting from individuals protect team unity, or is it really just avoiding accountability? Should he just call out players, or is this a good tactic? What do you think?
No, I think it is the best thing to do to not single out individuals. It's a pretty known thing, isn't it? Like, you don't do that to your players, single particular ones out for criticism. And I think the whole thing is like, he's the one that's under criticism now more than the players. Like, so if there was ever the time for him to blame individual players, he'd do it now, but he's not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think it's right to protect our players or protect your players. I mean, there are his players, but there are players as well. So to protect our players from the criticism like that, it's true. But leadership means owning the pattern, if you know what I mean, and not just the effort, but owning the pattern of what is happening. Effort wasn't the problem. It's the execution that was the problem. And for you not to acknowledge that and say, look, there's problems with some of the engine isn't firing the way we need for it to fire. There's some backfire, I guess, and we need to figure it out. Our captain spoke, and what he had to say was, quote, "We conceded a sloppy second." I'll give him a pause just in case. We were rushed, made wrong decisions, got too open. United were patient. We must stay together and turn it around ASAP. Now, that's a statement that I think acknowledges and accepts rather than try to deflect and say, "Oh, we were good. It just didn't work out for us today." Or, it sounded like that's what Arnie was kind of like alluding to with this comment, earlier by saying, starters created plenty of opportunities for us in the first half. The subs created even more in the second half. Well, if that's the case, fantastic. We have plenty of creation. Absolutely fantastic. However, it's what everyone or what's that word I'm trying to think of now, I'm gonna go blank on it, but like the finishing basically, clinical finishers and or whatever that buzzword that you hear from so many content creators and even sometimes people in the chat. The finishing just wasn't there, and he wasn't clinical, he wasn't surgical enough. Can staying calm fix structural flaws, do you think? Or does calm only come, or will the calm after the storm, which is these last 4 losses, will that only come after we see tactical fixes that work? You know what I mean? Like, as in, is it great to stay calm, or I'll expand the question a little bit more. Because the one thing I think we lack is urgency on the pitch. You don't see a sense of urgency. Sometimes, albeit we've scored, we've won games, but there hasn't been any real cohesion as to like, oh, that's the identity. It was more of like, let's just throw everything at the wall and hopefully it sticks type situations when it comes to a lot of these last minute wins or pulling games out of the fire. But now that we've had 4 losses, can staying calm fix structural flaws, or does calm only come after tactical fixes for you?
Well, we have to stay calm. And I think we will. Tactical fixes. I don't think there's an awful lot wrong at the moment. Arnie, for me, might be trying to run before he can walk a little bit this season with all the new players we've got coming in and like trying to move the formation around a bit. I think it's maybe a bit too quickly. He's trying to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he just, has a look at the way things have been going and analyse it, like he'll be able to turn this round. I mean, I'm sure of that. With like the Frankfurt game, I mean, they're a decent team, but it's not beyond reason that we could get at the very least a draw to buck this trend of defeats, and that's all we need to turn it round, is to get a draw. I mean, I'm hopeful that we could actually get a win in Frankfurt and then against Bournemouth. But I don't want to jump ahead of myself here. I'm just saying all we need to do on Wednesday is not lose to buck this trend of losing. That's what's got to come to an end, the losses.
Well,
the wins can start maybe after that, but we've got to make sure we don't lose during the week.
Well, originally before this game, I remember we were on live and I mentioned 7 out of 21. And what I meant from that number was we have 7 games in the next 21 days. That's a lot of movement when it comes to obviously trying to figure out a plan and work something out. I think one of the more concerning things, and this is why I said about the tactics, and I agree with Dustin. He said this is the tactics. Don't pass the ball around, but we aren't controlling anything or nothing. He says. I think that I think that one of the things that we've seen our team do is we had the international break, which felt like forever and a day, you know? However, the one thing that I'm disappointed in Arnie from is the sheer fact that he had 2 weeks to be in the office, on the pitch, working out whatever it is with his assistant coaches, dissecting what it would have taken to have gotten not a win on the road, a win at home against a arguably mid-table team in Manchester United. Now, I've said this before too. I have said, and I'll stand by my statement, and that is, when it comes to derbies, they're equalizers. I know some people don't want to recognize those things. They want to think of it as like, oh, well, Liverpool is certainly the favorites. I understand. I'm not saying that we weren't. If you looked at the betting sheets or whatever out there, you would have certainly seen Liverpool as the favorite going on into this match. However, it is a derby. It is something that carries a lot more weight than other games do in the schedule. And by that measure alone, it is an opportunity for sometimes the weight of that game to kind of bring you down to play at your competition's level. And I think that we saw a little bit of that, because if you look at our team versus their team, we should be doing laps around them when it comes to performance level, and we're not, and we didn't. So when it comes to Virgil's comments, composure is vital, but calm without correction is just silence. It is just silence. And that's not what we need. We need composure built on solutions, not slogans, because that's what we're kind of getting at this point. I understand that's what you wouldn't expect anything less. A lot of these guys are coach and players are PR trained. It's one of those things. Sometimes you hear interviews and you can only take, you have to take them with a grain of salt, because they're saying just the right things. Even when it's after the game, they're saying sometimes just the right things that they're measured to say. I did see Trudon's comment in here too. He had to say, this team looks devoid of anything. That's troubling. That's troubling. But I'll give you my take on this. Is United rode their luck early, because let's be honest, that first goal should not have happened. And what I mean by it should not have happened is that, one, play should have been stopped. Michael Oliver, who I despise as a referee, by the way, whether he's whether he's refereeing our games or other games, I think that he is nothing but Premier League hype when it comes to the level of referee he is. He is absolutely subpar. I know refereeing is a difficult job. I'm not saying it isn't, but he is subpar. And the sheer fact that he was unable to recognize the fact that McAllister had a head injury, taking one of our players obviously out of the play. He was no farther than maybe a yard away from the actual incident. He watched Virgil van Dijk. He watched McAllister. He watched, you can see him looking, because the ball, it's not like the ball wasn't there or it was just a coming of heads and he was watching the ball go elsewhere. The ball was directly in this area. So he's watching the play. He saw what happened. He saw McAllister immediately go to for his head to signal that he had gotten hit in his head. Any other time I've seen this happen in any other game for sometimes less, and I mean seriously less contact, sometimes not even contact at all. It's just the fact that the guy goes for his head and the referee stops it immediately. The sheer fact that he had to not only possibly had to get stitches or something, because I mean, apparently it was bad enough that they had to fix the gash. He had to wear a cap for the rest of the game. The sheer fact that 4 stitches, thank you, Dara, by the way. The sheer fact that you are unable to see what is obviously a head injury and you allow for it to continue on. That's the level of Michael Oliver. This is why when it comes to a majority of these referees, I say, do not expect to get favored in any call. Just go into these matches thinking that you are playing against the odds.
Yeah, I don't like to fall back on excuses, but it was right in his eye line. You could clearly say see that on multiple replays that he's seen exactly what happened, seeing that McAllister was still lying prostrate on the floor after play developed. Then he turned to watch the play happen, and they ended up scoring.
Yep.
It was just one of them. It was the split-second thing for him because, it's not slowed down when he sees it. Like, it was a split-second thing. Maybe he thought it wasn't that bad a knock. I could live with that he thought it wasn't that bad a knock, you know what I mean? Just got on with the play. But I have seen a lot less given, I've seen a lot less given for head injuries, as you said, 12. A lot less than that.
And with hindsight, the guy needed 4 stitches. That is the literal definition of a head injury.
Yeah, I've seen match played when somebody, a trailing arm into somebody's face, and that isn't really a head injury, a trailing arm into someone's face.
No.
But if they hit the deck and stay there, the game stopped, didn't it?
Yep. That's why it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, what was Michael Oliver even thinking? Is there an advantage now? Because is there an advantage to Manchester United? Absolutely, there is an advantage. Because Mbeumo is able to get up and he's able to get the ball and proceed with it. Because the player has a head injury and is down. Even though we can move on, and I understand what Dustin's saying. We can't afford to or control what the refs do, and that's why I mentioned earlier, saying that you've got to think that the refs are not going to give you any breaks, and nor should you expect them. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that you should, at least, but you would think that I've seen less interactions like that happen, and play has been stopped. And knowing that the player had a serious head injury, enough the fact that he had to have 4 stitches makes you go, you can't say, oh, well, it really wasn't that bad. Or, oh, he really didn't get hit in the head. It was what it was. And I'll even go as far as to say this. Look, United were very fortunate because not only did that happen, but, let's be honest, Cody Hakpo had 3 strikes go off the woodwork. I'm surprised we didn't hear the whole Darwin Nunez thing about. I think he had 4, right? Wasn't his record or something like that?
Probably, yeah. I think Darwin did it the woodwork a record number of times, didn't he?
Yeah.
In one match.
Yeah, I'm sure someone in the chat will give that number for us in a second or two. But we still walked out. We still walked out 2-1 losers in this game, because if one of those goes in, I mean, the one that went off the first one that went off the woodwork was ridiculous. It's the one that hit the woodwork, but it was more of a cross than it was a shot. That's a different story.
Yeah, that's different. It was the first one. If that went in, it would have been a different game, and we might well have went on to win from there, and could well have like. But I mean, I don't blame Arnie for coming out and saying these things. Like, you know, that's what happened. Like, we didn't take our chances. The chances we got, we didn't take. But at least we got the chances. It'd be better, like, you know, us losing that way than losing in a game where we had no chance to score and lost, you know. And it was like the Palace and the Chelsea games, you know, they were lost right at the death as well. You know, so they were like close losses, weren't they? Like all 3 league games, like we've lost really late, like fucking injury time nearly.
Yeah.
But they've all been lost in a certain way, and that is something to worry about. Like Arnie said before the game, didn't he? Said we've conceded too many from set pieces, and if you want to be successful, you can't do that. And then we go and lose a game from a set piece directly after he said that. But I mean, you know, just because he said it doesn't make it, you know, doesn't mean it's going to be different. You know, it's
execution.
Sometimes
it's the execution of your statements. Like, you can say you want to be a better, you know, you want to be a better this, you want to be a better, you know, employee or a better boss or a better this or whatever it is, you know, a better partner, whatever it is that you're saying. You want to be better, but it's about the execution of your statement as opposed to just saying the words. And look, Salah had his missed chances. We're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. I will probably have a whole show, or at least half a show, dedicated to that issue or that circumstances with Salah. Chiesa, big up Chiesa. For those of us that have been always supportive of Chiesa, shout out to each and every one of you. I'm not talking about the ones that are now on the Chiesa bandwagon or Chiesa needs to start now. I'm not saying those people, because I mean, like, I'm not going. I didn't go as far as to say Chiesa needs to start really throughout the entire time. I just said he needs to get minutes. He needs to be allowed to get minutes. But shout out to those that did show love towards Chiesa and showed patience and showed the actual faith that Chiesa could be something. Could be something that could be formidable or even have a contribution to our team. Shout out to those, because there are some content creators, some people in the chat, some content creators that weren't and aren't, and sometimes try to do some revisionary history when it comes to their track record on the player. But Chiesa, I will say this: when Chiesa was inserted into the lineup, that sense of urgency that I've been speaking on, that sense of adrenaline, the sense of that sense again of lack of a better word, but urgency that we need. So the same type of urgency you would see when Harvey Elliott would get onto the pitch. The same type of urgency you would see when Lucho was on the pitch. The same type of urgency. Say what you will, whether what direction of it, that you'd see when Nunez was on the pitch. The same type of urgency you would see when a host of players got on the pitch, you would see. But you ever see there's some unique trend of some of the players I just mentioned. I'm trying to think of what it is. Oh, yeah. Those players are no longer with this team. Those players are no longer with this team. And yesterday, we got the undivided, I guess, pleasure if you're a Red Devil, certainly agony if you're a Red. We got to see Lurch, the stunt double for Lurch from the Adams family, head in an unmarked header, which is absolutely embarrassing. And not only is it embarrassing, let me bring up.
Thanks for that. That was a good one. That the stunt double for Lurch from the Adams family. My descriptions of him are pretty similar, but like similar thing, like but different individuals. For me, Harry Maguire looks like an ogre. from Jack and the Beanstalk, we used to have drawings
That
of
one's
what
good.
the ogre looked like, and that's what Harry Maguire looks like to me.
That was good. That was good. An ogre, yeah. That he could be. He could be the ogre from Time Bandits. That's a reference.
Oh yeah.
How about that?
Piece of corn. When they're in the boat.
When they're in the boat, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what we got to see yesterday. Now, if you're looking at this, the sheer issue I had with this play is the fact that, okay, it gets over the head of Ibu. That is an issue in itself. I get it. But the fact is, even if Lurch didn't hit this, there are two Manchester United players standing right next to him. All would have had an opportunity to do something with that cross. There was 3 Manchester United players in the vicinity, and only Ibu tracking back on his back heel, an absolute area of the pitch vacant of any Reds. Our left back, and I'll say this with pride, our left back was on the bench. At least my left back was on the bench. Kirkes is going to eventually be our left back. I just don't think he's our left back at the moment. That's just my take. But getting back to it, I don't know if Slot's being stubborn. I don't know. I've said this before, and I said this on Kopish, or at least sent them to make sure that they did recognize the comment. I even super chatted it to them, and this is something I will say, and it's a note. Now I'll have to probably pull up the exact quote for you, and I can do that in a second. But I think that the statement that Tyler Morton said, the interview that Tyler Morton said, I think resonates loudly to me. It's something I've said before. It's something I've heard Nalante say. It's something I've heard JK say. I'm not trying to speak for them. I'm just saying in the sense of we've all discussed this in the back room or on live. The comments that Tyler Morton said, I think, resonate loudly at this very moment. Because the current structure isn't working. Szoboszlai at right back, please stop. Not saying he's bad at being a right back or a bad player. It's more so I want to see him in a more forward role, not as a right back. I want to see him in a more forward role, which we have seen him in. Gravenberch. Gravy is isolated in the majority of the pitch. Figure it out, Slot, as to why that's happening. Isak had 2 freaking touches yesterday for opportunities on goal, or 2 shots on goal. That's being starved. None of it adds up if you really think about it, because it's time for the 4-4-2 diamond and a pressing rebirth. I know some people don't want to hear the yesteryear of Klopp and referring to, oh, well, you can't compare it to the 3 red arrows or this or that. I'm trying to emphasize that our defense is poor. I'm not going to utilize the words that Trudon just said, but the defense is poor.
Yeah. It wasn't so much a sloppy goal to concede as the winner. It was a silly goal to concede. Our initial positioning from the corner wasn't too bad. It got cleared. But, the way it came back in and then we were all at sea, it says a lot about how we've been on set pieces this year.
Yep.
And they've obviously identified that, to try and get it in the... that's the problem for us sometimes from set pieces. It ain't the initial ball. It's like what happens after that when we're not very good at, getting rid of the second ball coming in. And that happens time after time with us. It did last season as well. It's been a bit of an Achilles heel for a while. And that comes down to organisation rather than personnel, doesn't it?
Liverpool, I think because there's that question. It's I know again some of these are buzzwords now, but the identity of this team, Liverpool's identity, in my opinion, was built on controlled chaos, and now it seems like we have confused calmness. Sure, we're calm, we're patient, we're all these different things when it comes to passing and having high passing rates and doing east to west style and sometimes just south passing. There's times when I see the ball go back towards our keeper, and I'm just like, why are we going backwards? It is something that we need to see happen on this team. And what it is that my opinion is, he already had 2 weeks, which is why I'm scared, or not scared, but I'm somewhat trepidatious when it comes to possibly having an answer. He had 2 weeks during that international break to figure out, okay, this 4-2-3-1, the way that the components and the way it's being structured is not clicking. Players inverted, players playing out of position, all these different little things. 2 weeks he had to figure out a solution going forward, maybe an alteration going forward. And rather than that, we saw something that me and the person I'm about to bring into this conversation have been certainly slated for bringing up before last year, when we were calling out what is going on with this. And what I mean by that is, last year we had a game against PSG in Paris. What was the plan, the players that we had and the instructions they had in that game were poor. If it was not for Ali and two players that are seldom been utilized in that campaign, which was Nunez and certainly Harvey Elliott, who scored the game winner for us. If it wasn't for Ali, we would have been down 4-5-6-0 in that game or something. And yet we had a game in between in Southampton against the worst team in the league that we could have maybe said, let's take a step back. Let's revamp our team. Let's figure out what we need to do different. Let's put in some components. Let's rest some players. Let's get this all settled. And what did we do? We had this individual brilliance of Nunez that saved us in that game. And then PSG returns the very next week, and we go, let's go right back to what almost lost us the game at PSG. Tell me there's anything wrong with what I just said, because that's the facts.
Yep. What are you saying, bro? Everything good, yeah? Lee?
Big up, JK. Big up.
Yeah, good,
Big up, man. Everyone. Today's been wild, man. Ooh.
I bet it has.
It's been wild, man. Mans are going crazy about it. But I understand what you're saying right there, bro. Big up Dara in the chat as well. And everyone else, Justin, Helio. We, ever since that week, that Newcastle Paris week, bro, it hasn't been right. Let's be straight. It hasn't been right, bro. And we Liverpool fans are very down to earth and not go after a coach if he's had a few bad games. You know what I mean? We're pretty settled, but slowly that's crept in now. We've got so-called Liverpool fans jumping on this guy Slot's back. Yeah, fair enough. We've lost 4 games, bro. 9 points we've dropped in the Premier League. Big. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
lost to Galatasaray team that lost 5-1 away to Frankfurt. So, you know, it's been pretty poor. Let's be real now. What seems to be the problem? For me, the problem seems to be that he doesn't trust any of the new signings. Let's be real now. He don't trust none of them. I'm like, he's brought these guys in, or supposedly, and he don't really trust any of them. Wirtz has been subbed for the big games against Everton, Chelsea, and Man United now, bro. We're using fucking Wirtz on the subs bench.
Troubling.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. You seen what he did when he came on? Like, I watched both of the German internationals that just happened a week ago.
Yeah.
Wirtz was heavily involved in most of the game. Like, he just had, when he had the ball, you know he was trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that guy's been benched, bro. I was so looking forward to seeing Wirtz play yesterday.
I was looking forward. I was as Lee. We did a preview show, and we spoke on what our lineups would be, and then we even said what we think Slot is going to go with. And the lineups that we included, or the lineups I included for Slot, did not have Wirtz in them. But the lineup I included for myself had Wirtz in them. I've been pushing this narrative. The day that I knew that we lost Trent, and the day that I knew that we were getting Wirtz into this team, and that is we need a creator. We need someone that's going to be the maestro when it comes to being able to pass on the dime and create opportunities for our gunmen. Trent Alexander-Arnold was that player. You could hate him or love him for what he brought to you defensively or the likes. However, Trent Alexander, and even maybe what he ended up doing to our team by leaving, but Trent Alexander-Arnold was that player. That much you can't deny. He was able to pin diagonals. He was able to get Salah on his bike, and that is a difference maker. We do not have that in our right back any longer. And I would go as far as to say we don't have it in our right back any longer because this coach hasn't decided who our freaking right back even is.
Yeah. That's what level we're at right now, bro. We can't even decide. So Botskla is our favorite right back, bro. Let's work that fucker out.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Yeah, fair enough. One game, bang, no problem. Right? And he's played pretty well there. Let's not bullshit. Yeah, like he's doing pretty well.
I'm not. I
don't want to see him there. I want to see Frimpong. Like for me, Frimpong. You seen yesterday the few minutes he was on the pitch. Yep. What it was, Frimpong was about to come on as soon as we equalised, and what happened is United scored, and then Frimpong sat back down. Did you remember that yesterday?
Yeah, that was one of the best.
He only got a few minutes.
When he came on, Frimpong, and he went on the outside, and put it in. Should have ended up in the net, that was one of the best bits of the match. Look, I don't think Arnie's become like some shit, clueless manager without a future overnight. Right. As I said before, he won the league in his first season, which is hard to do for any coach coming into the Premier League, to win the league in your first season. And it was only a few months ago we'd done that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we've got to give him a little bit of leeway, haven't we? I think, for me, he's just trying to change things a bit too much too quickly at the beginning of this season. I don't know what the answer is, because, I'm not a top football coach or anything, but I think he will be able to think of one. I think one of the symptoms of the way he's been doing things is Szoboszlai always ended up at right back, and that we've got to have it. I think he's trying to do too much, you know what I mean? I think if he's just, I don't even like the term get back to basics because I don't know what our basics are, but we are better than this. We all know that we're a better side than this. We're just going through a bit of a downturn in form and results, but it isn't going to last. I'd be staggered if it did. If we lose our next two games, I'll eat me hat.
I'm not going to go that far. But anyway, I like my hat. But no, seriously.
What I wanted to say, bro, quickly, look at that Wirtz pass to Chiesa yesterday.
Yeah.
That's all right. I've said, I've watched Wirtz so closely this season because I was like, yeah, man, this guy's wicked and stuff. And then I noticed he always hovers around the box area, just outside and just going into the box. And he's just hovering there. So the pass he passed to Chiesa yesterday was so easy, bro. But that's what he's got in him. Like, other players would have thought, you know what? I'm near the goal. I'm fucking shooting. I ain't scored for this club. Yeah, I'm going to shoot. No. Calm, Mr. Cool, little ball to Chiesa, bang, goal. And that's what works. Give Wirtz the ball, and then you'll see a difference in the way we play. You know,
That's
if you're
what
not going to
yeah.
Yeah,
But
there were
I'm sorry.
enough highlights in yesterday's game to give me encouragement. Like, you know, it ended up being a terrible result and that, like, and we weren't excellent, but there was enough there to give me encouragement, like, for the games going forward. You know, we did hit the post loads of times. Like, we never looked particularly creative and dangerous, like, but we still managed to create chances, even in a bad performance. So that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, it's the same as the first 5 results, Lee, where we got the 3 points each game, 15 points, but we were pretty poor. But we got the job done. So I was pretty cool about that. But since then, I think Alisson missing is a big...
Huge.
No one's really talking about that.
How about this?
Fair
No. Not all of us. Bro. Not all of us. But there, I have faith in Mohamedashvili. Trust me, I do have faith that he will, you know, come into form and hopefully sooner than later. But I did make a comment, and I know I was going to get a lot of flack for it. Mohamedashvili is not Kelleher.
He isn't, bro. Sorry, I'd rather have Kelleher in goal. I'm telling you the truth.
No, he's not.
Right now,
he let 6 in the other day against Turkey.
If I had my choice, I'd rather have Kelleher in net than have Mohamedashvili, because Kelleher has the ability to distribute better with his feet. And I also think that Kelleher's making that save against possibly the first goal. Mohamedashvili should have saved that. It ended up hitting off his thigh and going in. Yeah. He should have saved that. He needs to figure out how to get. He's a
make himself bigger,
dude, and he needs to figure out how to make himself bigger.
Yeah, I thought he got done there. When I looked at it, I realised I was being a bit harsh. But when they scored, I thought, how the fuck did it? I thought Alisson would have saved that. The first thing I thought, Alisson. Then I seen it again, and I was a bit harsh on him. I think for him, like, he's coming into the side when we're losing, which doesn't help the guy. You know what I mean?
It doesn't. It doesn't, because already you can see it. I think personally, DoorDash, true John. You could see it in that. Hey, when the scary thing about this, and again, I can't emphasize this enough. The scary thing about this is that confidence is crazy. Confidence comes from you. I mean, you could have some strikers, or you could have even defenders as well. But I always say that the 2 positions that you need to have the biggest, the most hardy level of confidence in is your striker and your goalkeeper. And I'd even go as far as to say your goalkeeper more than your striker. But your goalkeeper and your striker are the 2 positions you have to have utmost confidence in yourself. And then if players around you start to even remotely question, should I get this pass back to him? Or, is he going to make that stop? Or, is he going to take this shot? Or is he going to be able to head this ball in if I give him the cross? That's when it gets problematic. That's when
I think that's the same with Virgil and Kirkes. I think Virgil's feeling like that towards Kirkes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's something not right there. I said yesterday, you know what? I would have played Frimpong right back, Robertson left back, and Wirtz instead of McAllister. I don't know. God knows why McAllister started that game.
No
that
idea.
Brother needs a year off. Simple. He needs a year off. He's been playing mad football for the last 3 years, like non-stop. And he gets stuck in. Him getting stuck in last season, winning us the league, actually did a lot of damage to him, I think. He hasn't been right since. He had a bit of a groin issue.
I think he hasn't been right since Doku threw cleats into his chest, but that's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story, yeah. He ain't been right since that, bro. You know what I mean?
Probably the Tarkowski one on him in the derby. The horrible one Tarkowski done on him in the derby.
Oh, remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
That was bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he goes through the wall and he hurts me. Like, he puts his body through pain to win us games, bro. So I've got no problem with McAllister. I'm just saying now,
I give him props.
He isn't ready.
I give him props. He's like, I look at McAllister and I think he's like the Sylvester Stallone character of Rocky for us, in that, you know, he goes out there, he takes, you don't expect the things that you would out of the player, but he takes a beating, and yet he still keeps getting up.
Yeah.
You know?
I was joking.
Which challenge did you mention for McAllister, Lee? Which one did you say?
The Tarkovsky one in the
Yeah,
derby,
I was about to
where
mention.
if McAllister's leg had been planted in the ground, that was a career-ending
Yes,
tackle.
yeah, it could be the end of his career. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you remember the bullshit interview after the derby as well? And what the interview reporter guy said, that challenge on McAllister, like, what were you doing? He didn't say it in them words, like, but he went, "Oh yeah, he said that was a bit naughty of me, a bit naughty."
A bit naughty. No,
you're
that's
Man United fan, bro.
That was evil.
Yeah,
that tackle.
yeah. You think that's
Man United, you know?
I
Gonna do
mean,
that.
it's been taken out the game now, like, and I used to like seeing like loads of good tackles and that, but that was just nasty. That from Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
I think when players like that, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, in the sense of like, look, if you think that's good for you to be able to give out tackles like that, you might have a target on your back too, or there will be no sympathy lost if someone puts out a tackle like that on you and you're out. You think I'm going to shed a tear over the fact of like you have an injury? No, because you're out there trying to injure players.
He is
trying to injure players.
Yeah, Mac seems to be a magnet from bad tackles for opponents. Like, if we're on top of a game, he's easier to nail because he moves slower, like, than a lot of our other players. Do you know what I mean? And he's up for the fight as well, so it makes him a bit of a target.
All right, so look, 4-4-2 diamond is what I'm proposing. I've been proposing it from the very beginning since we've gotten Isak. I've been proposing the fact of Wirtz being our Trent. Wirtz being what Trent Alexander-Arnold was to Klopp. I would like to see Wirtz be that to Slot. That's solely what I would like to see happen. I don't know if many people are making that acclamation. I don't know I haven't really heard that from the very beginning. I think if more people were talking about other parts and portions of our team to go different directions. But the right personnel, it'll give you balance. With the right personnel, with the right instructions, whether it's Endo being our DM or Gravenberch being our DM, I don't care anchoring it, whether it's Maka or Sabasalai giving minutes towards Wirtz at that 10 role rather than having to be subjugated to playing right back or playing in this pivot. It restores our spine and brings the pressing back from extinction, because you have fresh legs. You know that those legs don't have to go a full 90. They can just do what they need to do and get it done. That's the key part and point of what I would like to see. So I'm going to give you my top 10 talking points. These are talking points I'm thinking that you might start to hear. So I'm going to say them before you start to hear them, and then you can say where you heard them. I'm going to bring this up. Look, the most damning thing I can say about our team yesterday is that even when it went 1-1, and we had time to win in that game, by the way, when it was 1-1, the performance never inspired belief. That's where it's scary. At one point in this game, or at many points in this game, yes, even one of the most positive, always, can never say this about, or it's negative thing about
football
this.
Romantic.
Football romantic, hey, all that. There was a point in that game where I was like, at my supporter club, I was like, we'll be lucky to get a draw in this game. We're going to be lucky to get a draw. Like, I wasn't expecting or looking for us to win this game. If we gotten the win, it would have been beyond a blessing. But the
game was there. Yeah.
Go ahead. The game was there. No, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that there wasn't opportunities that we could have stolen a point or stolen all 3 points. Absolutely. But that's the thing. Stolen all 3 points. The crowd was fantastic. Look, Anfield's always going to push our team to higher levels. It should have been one of those magic moments. I'm not saying it shouldn't have been, but the football didn't match the noise at that stadium. Even when we nicked, even when we'd been nicked at 2-1, it would have even if we had, gotten a 2-1 thing, it would have papered over the cracks, because we looked like a side trying to remember what made us dangerous, and that's troubling. United's 2-1 felt deserved because we created chaos, not control. And that's where the identity of the identity that we're searching for from this coach hasn't really been pronounced. That's the issue of what I'm having. I'm not saying that Arne Slot's a bad coach. I'm not saying Arne Slot needs to be sacked. Those people that are saying that are absolutely ridiculous. All right? That's not the case at all. But what I am saying is this coach needs to figure out a true identity for this team because we do not have one currently. At least with Jurgen Klopp, and I know I'm not trying to necessarily to compare apples. It might be apples and oranges to some. But at least with Jurgen Klopp, you could say, oh, Jurgen Klopp is heavy metal. Jurgen Klopp is all about the counter press and about the press. Jurgen Klopp is about intensity. Jurgen Klopp is about energy on the pitch. All of those things I just mentioned are non-existent with this team. And a lot of those components that made up that existence are no longer with this team. So that means that we're going to have to figure out either one, how do you get that kind of response, if that's the identity that we want to go with? How do we get that kind of response from the players that we have? Or if it's another identity of this whole control, be patient, you don't have to always press, you just have to have control and possession of the ball, then you have to figure out how that's going to get you positive results. Because I think me and JK have spoken on this time and time again. And it's almost like the reason why I didn't necessarily believe we could win this game yesterday was simply because, one, we were trailing, so that part sucks. But this coach has it. It's almost like he has a national governor in the engine of his car. That 2 goals, that's all we need. And that's why I'm like, there's no urgency, there's no intensity, there's no I don't go into games thinking this player's going to get a hat trick. I don't go into games thinking that we're going to score 4 or 5 goals in this game against teams that we should score 4, 5, 6, 7 goals against. That's a serious, serious identity crisis. So how do we reconcile big numbers and bad performances, Lee? XG performance, yet no conviction. How do we get that? What's your solution?
To this, just stay calm, concentrate, try and fix the things that are wrong. That's all we can do, really, isn't it? I think we will. I'm not scared of Frankfurt. I'm
not scared of Frankfurt, but
they're a good team, bro. Frankfurt scored a lot of goals. But for me, bro, I would go in the club tomorrow before they go to Frankfurt and just have a word with the whole team. I wouldn't let Arne Slot be there, but for me, I'd be like, who are you actually playing for here? Are you playing under the manager's words and you listening to him, or is it your team energy, Van Dijk, because he's the captain? I'd ask
Virgil
him.
Needs to have that conversation. I agree with that completely. Great statement.
By the way. Virgil
needs to have a simple game. Needs to have if it's not going to come from the coach, Virgil needs to have that. Let's have
as a captain.
As the captain. Let's have this rally moment where if we're not going to have Jurgen Klopp style inspiration, walk through the door, because Arne Slot is not that guy. For me, he's not that guy.
He ain't, bro. He ain't. Simple. I don't know why he isn't like that. It surprises me because for me, football is it's an entertainment business and it's an adrenaline-based sport. Like when your adrenaline is high, your performance is high. And when your performance is high, you're going to start scoring. You're going to start making winning games. It's like Casado. I always go back to Casado because for me, Casado on his own beat us the other week. Casado's energy and his adrenaline, bro, beat us in that game.
Yeah.
None of us players, bar Sabotale has that. Sorry, but that's the truth. So for me, it's that. It's where is this energy gone? Is it the manager saying, like for me, I always say this, but I've been watching the way we've been playing football this season. And for me, Slot loves to control a game. And the problem with that is when you're trying to control a game, At what speed are you controlling that game? If you're so slow controlling that game, what's going to happen is the other team's going to fucking wake up and pickpocket you and score goals against you.
Well
when you're
put.
trying to control the ball, Konate has the ball more than Salah yesterday in that fucking game.
We're gonna get into that. That's one of my points. You might be stealing some of the thunder from all my 10 points. I've only gotten one out, but yeah, that's because there's a lot to talk about. There's certainly a lot to talk about. Look, so if it was the first point was if it was a deserved defeat, I'd say the first half slow start, same old pattern. That's an issue. Passive openers, long ball exposure between Bradley and Konate, problematic. Liverpool's first half have been copy and paste. Watch, wait, then react. United's plan was simple. Direct balls into fullback channel, quick transitions, pinning us back before we could breathe. We came out looking like observers, not aggressors. United scored early, and from there, we never dictated tempo.
Didn't.
It's a tactical version of sleepwalking, I would call it.
But you know what it was, bro? Remember last season where first off, Slot would really look at the opposition first half, and then second half put his foot down and say, and we thought, cool. Yeah. New manager wants to learn how other teams play in the Premier League. But this season, bro, we even got that. I thought yesterday, okay, first half, not great. Let's smash it second half, bro. Never happened.
Yeah. You're in your mind, you're thinking, oh, we're gonna make the necessary changes. Second half will come out, will look different from the start. Nope.
I would have made the changes at half time. I would have brought Wirt straight on, Frimpong straight on, and Ekitike straight back on. I would have brought them all on, bro. Half time.
Do you reckon the script is written for Hugo to do a hit job on Frankfurt then, like on Wednesday? Going back to his old club and getting us back in gear. What do you reckon his celebration? You know what Hugo's like? He loves it, doesn't he? But his celebration should be muted if he scores, shouldn't it?
Yeah, as long as he keeps his shirt on and they get a yellow card, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want him to do anything.
Hugo's a bit of a wild. He's a bit of a wild child. He's a bit.
I love him, mate. I think he's boss, and he's going to be.
I like him.
I like Ekitike a lot.
He was one of the bright spots of yesterday. Out the subs, it was just them 2 shots he didn't go in, but you could see what he was thinking, and he weren't that far away.
He's taking the game by the
neck.
The rough of the neck or whatever they call it, and trying to make something happen. There's a chance that he possibly could have passed it off to. There's one opportunity he could have passed it off to Wirtz, exactly, and possibly a better chance. But in his mind, he's thinking I've got to create. I've got to have this individual moment of brilliance to lift my team up. And that much I can say is as long as it's measured, I don't mind seeing. I don't mind seeing it.
But at least as far as the new signings go, Hugo's the only one who has shown moments of brilliance.
He's the only one, bro.
He did it in the Charity Shield. He did it in the one in the derby. I loved. I thought Ryan's goal was bossing the derby, but I probably enjoyed Hugo's more because it was a really great finish. I thought he could have fluffed it, but he took it just at the exact right time, didn't he? His goal.
He's actually better than what I thought he was, and I wouldn't have. So I think him getting the red card when he took his shirt off weren't great. He missed the next game, but I think in that time, if Isak was scoring and getting into form, I would have said, okay, it's all right. But the thing is, it hasn't been really working for Isak yet. I got no problem about Isak. He's quality. He's going to smash it one day. But I would have kept on playing Ekitike and bringing Isak as sub. I would have just carried on that flow because it was working. Ekitike was scoring goals, bro. I think he made a mistake there, Slot. I think trying to get Isak fit sort of messed us up as well because he started a few games now, Isak, and he's going to smash it. But I just felt that the way Ekitike was playing, electric, bro. Really good player. I feel he's got a bit of a wild side in him, like that challenge he did yesterday, jumping in. I don't know who it was on. I think it was on Blockhead. Maguire. I think it was on him. He's got that in him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do like that about him. As long as it doesn't go, over the bounds of sanity, with his with that side of his game. But I like that about Hugo. To be honest, I wanted Isak to start yesterday because I thought he played loads of minutes for Sweden. I was like, yeah, get him in the team. But I think I was probably wrong now. It might have been better to have played Hugo like yesterday. But it's great that we've got this problem, like, in it, of which one to play, like, out the two of them. Because although Isaac hasn't done it for us yet, everyone knows he's a great striker. And Hugo's been good so far on his early performances. Like, even when he hasn't started, he's done well coming on because he's always bright. You know, he's always, like, ready to do something, like, isn't he? And that's what I like about him. I think as the team develops and gets better this season, we'll see some outstanding goals and play from Hugo.
Yeah, no, I have no issues from Hugo at all. If anything, I am on the committee to start both Isak and Hugo at the same time. To be honest with you, I'm on that. You know, that's my. I know you don't like the term "back to basics," but that's my reference of back to basics, which is like the return. You know, back to the golden era of hip hop, '90s style. Situation where we bring out a 4-4-2, but. I did say I would make the comment or bring up that comment about Tyler Morton. Let me bring up this one actually is from Harvey Elliott. This is what Harvey Elliott had to say. So there are moments within the season where I am getting angry. He said, I am getting frustrated because I want to play, but at the same time need to respect the situation. I need to respect the manager's decisions. Some games I'm needed, some games I'm not. That's just how football is. That's why I feel like we're in the position that we are in the season so far because of his decisions. Now, as far as Tyler Morton went as far as to say, I think he thought I was a good player, but I didn't feel the trust was there as much. In my opinion, the limited opportunities were down to trust and not ability. When I got my opportunity in the cup, I felt like I played well. That's all I could say. I stuck it out. I stuck at it, stayed focused, got through to the end of the season, and played in the under 21 Euros, which was amazing. I had a few conversations with him, being Arne Slot, during the season. A lot of footballers can be bitter about not playing and let their egos get in the way, but I'm not that type of player. I'm not that type of lad. I can't emphasize enough that why I made the comment earlier about Chiesa is because Chiesa could have been possibly doing some of that energy, some of those things that we're starting to see this season, last season. There are opportunities in games that we needed something off the bench. And rather than choose a player like a Chiesa, rather than choose a player like Elliott, this coach stuck with his gut and would be like, you know what? No, I'm just going to play Gravenberch in right center half. Or I'm going to go and put this player. This is very similar to yesterday, and this is what got to me. Let me make sure that I bring up the exact. I'm going to bring up the exact thing because I'm only on 0.3 of my 10 points. I'm not trying to make this into a 7-hour show, but let me bring up this. Let me bring up this little quick stanza, and then I'll get right back into the points and get the panel involved. There was a moment where, let's see. The 62nd minute, we brought in Wirtz, we brought in Ekitike, and we brought in Jones. Gravenberch, McAllister, and Bradley sat down. And we brought in later on, in the 72nd minute, we took out Isak. After finally playing with both Ekitike and Isak in the game for about 10 minutes, which, started to make a change, at least for us as well, by the way. In the 72nd minute, we changed Isak out. We brought in Chiesa, and we got our goal. And then in the 85th minute, we took out Salah, and we brought in Frimpong. Now, looking at what that exchange was, the reason why it made me say, what is this coach doing, is and I thought Connor Bradley played well yesterday. I didn't think that Connor Bradley played poorly by any means, by the way. But we subbed out Connor Bradley, had to then move Dom to right back, right? Then 20 minutes later, we sub in our right back, a world-class level, or if that could be argued, I get that, but certainly one of the best right backs from last year in the world was Frimpong. And we wait till the 85th minute to sub him in instead of bringing him in as a direct sub for the right back we're taking out. I'm a little bit lost in that. And that's why, I'm thinking we need a 4-4-2 improvisation. We need Verts. We could utilize Jones, who I think is deserving of a start, by the way. I think he's played excellent in the games that he's played in. When the changes came, they screamed desperation, not design. Slot through on firepower, but extinguished shape. Verts and Jones as a midfield 2 left acres between lines. Cody, Hugo, Salah, Verts, 4 attackers chasing shadows somewhat. No real cohesion when it comes to the press, because if anything, I've pointed it out. I know Pops is going to get on me for saying this, but you can't compare it to the Red Arrows. But look, there was cohesion in our counter press when we had obviously Salah, Mane, and Frimpong and Bobby. But even I would make the argument there was cohesion once Nunez, the second year, especially when Nunez understood what it meant to counter press. There was cohesion, and the reason why Mohamed Salah said the statement about what he said, which is about enjoying Nunez being the second player he enjoyed playing most beside him, only to Bobby. And that's because of the work and the amount of intensity that Nunez brought in that central role. And one thing you could say about our front line was that Nunez and Diaz and Salah, all three of them, even with the less emphasis on Salah, at least we had a comparable counter press. It's that same statement that I keep making over and over that go on deaf ears. Klopp said, it's not about our defense, it's about our counter press, because that is the tip of our spear. That is our defense. He wasn't concerned about our defense. The major concern, if you want playing time, is how you counter press. That's not a part of this club. That's not a part of this identity that we have right now currently. I would say, I'm going to bring this question up to the panel because this is my point 4, recent performances and declining standards. No dominant spell, unlike Palace or Chelsea matches. At Palace, we dominated spells before collapsing. At Chelsea, we recovered from a rocket and controlled large phases of the game. Here, there was nothing, really. No rhythm, no spark, no recognizable DNA. For a squad rebuilt at elite costs, is that not alarming? We didn't lose to brilliance. We lost to being unrecognizable. So what's the non-negotiable minimum, even in defeat for you, JK? What's the non-negotiable minimum that you need to see from this team? JK, I think JK's got some something.
For me, just to look a bit more like a team in the next game.
Okay.
We've looked like a team in moments so far this season, but I'd like it to be for the whole match, maybe for once, for us to have control. Because it was only this time last season we were ripping it up, wasn't it? We like all the early league wins. We won all our Champions League games. The favourite bit for me at the start of last season was the 4-0 against Leverkusen, because it was scabby against Slot,
That was possibly our best game, actually, too, by the way. Either that or some might argue Manchester City. But that's that 3-game run of Leverkusen, City, and Real Madrid were possibly the 3 best games that we performed all year.
Yeah, well, that was the German champions, like Florian Wirtz included. And it was quite a tight game, but I was pleased with that, like that we were able to win a tightish game 4-0. That was the one that really gave me a lot of heart, like last season early on, that we could go on and do great things, which we did by winning the league. Okay, we failed like in the Champions League, but it wasn't against the crappy side, was it? Like the eventual winners, and the way they won the final, like, was notable. I'm looking forward to the Champions League anyway. We're all miserable about like the league, and we're 4 points behind and that, like. But I think we could definitely have a good Champions League season if Wirtz and Isak and the other players can settle in and click. Like, I think we can have a right good go at it this season. Depending on the draw, like if we get a favourable draw, we could go all the way.
Well, let me ask this to JK then, because 4 straight losses. This is my 5th point. Bigger picture is the bigger picture is somewhat of a harsh realization for some of us. 4 straight losses. 4 straight losses. This one to United. The title race possibly slipping. This isn't an off day. It's a pattern. 4 defeats. Again, like I said, the rebuild is sounding like, are we going to be comfortable with a title defense being a transition year? We look like a side still learning its reflection, while Arsenal and City sprint ahead of us. It has some real cohesion to their teams. By the time the system clicks, the race might be gone. That's the harsh truth. We're transitioning when we were supposed to be contending. That's the bottom line. Are we witnessing a transition season or an early crisis? Or is this something else that you think that we're going through?
For me, it's no one really knows what to do. It's a transition, of course. So many new players coming in, so many leaving as well, bro. Goes on about Harvey Elliott and Darwin, for example. They're not here no more. A lot of people are gone. It should be better because look at the quality that's come in. Isaac and Wirtz alone, bro. Come on, you adding that to your team, it's just gonna make it better. But for me, it is a lot of people don't know what they're doing, and that seems to be the problem.
I'll ask this of Lee then. I spoke on this player earlier. It was his choice to leave, so it's not like I am angry with the fact of the state of our club with anything like that. It's more of what he produced for our team. So the no Trent outlet being a key tactical issue, the build-up play problems. I think that's the big thing. The build-up play has been poor. No Trent outlet. We have Gravenberch being isolated quite often on the pitch. The center backs are being forced to go long. And it's something that JK's mentioned earlier too. Our build-up looks broken without Trent's distribution. Everything clogs in that back line. Gravenberch was man-marked out of relevance. Szoboszlai and McAllister pushed too high occasionally, and both center backs could sometimes seem like they were panicking to say, oh, well, let's just do a diagonal rather than do a concerted diagonal. Bradley and Kirkes had no safe pass to advance. The whole progression of the line fell frozen, if anything. It's not about players missing. It's about one idea missing, in essence. And I just noticed that a lot of what they were doing was, for instance, saying, have at the ball. And this is something I know Ensman is going to probably maybe clip me up or maybe even use my words against me, because I know he's been very much on this campaign to, I wouldn't say protect, but more so, let's just call it protect. Why not? Protect Ibu from criticism, because he's speaking on the sense of that Ibu is, I know some people are saying that Ibu's not a good passer, or that his distribution is somewhat suspect. And, you know, he's bringing up the statistics for Ibu. Let me see what I have here too. For instance, Ibu yesterday was 56 out of 68 for his passing, 82%. That was actually one of them. Normally he's even higher when it comes to some of his passing. He had one key pass in yesterday's game. He was 3 out of 5 for his long balls and created one big chance. He did create a good chance for I think it was Salah that he created the chance for. But what I noticed yesterday is not only was it the Red Devils that did this to us, but numerous other teams are doing this. They're saying you don't have a Trent Alexander-Arnold for Ibu to just, you know, dish it off to and Trent find that player on the run or find Salah.
Yeah.
So because you don't have that, Ibu, have at it. We're going to press or we're going to push up on whether it's Roger Van Dijk trying to make the pass or other players maybe trying to make the passes for us. But if it's Ibu, we're going to lay off and allow for him to be, you know, let's see how he is able to pinpoint diagonals, get passes out. That's not his game. Ibu is more of a defensive stalwart and than he is a, you know, offensive spark.
Again, that's part of the transition, isn't it? Like for the longest time, Trent was one of our most creative players, whether it was in direct assists or the pass that created the assist. And that's gone now, and we're moving on from that. You know, people, you know, say to themselves, "Where's it going to come from?" Like, you know, it'll come eventually. We'll find our way out of this eventually. Like, but yeah, removing Trent from the back line now, it's changed things for us a bit, like, hasn't it? But I think as a side, like, we're going to be okay in the long run. Like, it's just these teething problems, isn't it, of transition, where the creativity is going to come from, who's going to play the killer ball and all that. Like, but I think we've got enough good players that we'll be able to sort that out, given a bit of time. We just got to give the guy a bit of time. That's running out in modern football now. Like,
that's the thing. That's the thing, is that there is no time for again, that transition. And I know that word is being a buzzword too now. But that state of transition was, unfortunately, should have been last year. And I think that's why when people like myself make the comment about how that was Klopp's team, that was you know, that was engineered by Klopp, but then tweaked by Slot to create the production that we saw, which was a Liverpool title running year. That year of transition now is like you don't get that that breathing room to say this is a year that we can just kind of be like, oh well, our expectations are down. When you spend the kind of money that we spent and you get rid of the components that got us to that level before. You don't say to me, oh, these are all going to be upgrades on components that are outdated or no longer necessary for us to win at that, you know, however you're trying to say about, you know, whether Elliott's not good enough or again, Morton's not good enough or Kelleher's not good enough or any of those different things. And Kelleher, that might be a stretch because Kelleher wanted to be first team player as opposed to a backup any longer. But if you're going to tell me, okay, you're going to get rid of those portions of the team, you're going to bring in notable players that are supposedly better at their roles, and then you're going to get subpar results from these players, that's an issue. And if it's going to all of a sudden impact players that were producing at extraordinary levels last year, Mohamed Salah, that's my 7th point. He missed 2 big chances in this game. There's a visible dip in his confidence. He had a shot that didn't even hit the net. He didn't even hit the side of the net with the shot. All alone. It's not like it was pressed or had a man in front of him or any of that stuff. The ball fell to him, not the one. I'm not even talking about the Virgil van Dijk where the cross went over Virgil's head and he had an opportunity to volley it in and it goes horribly wrong for him. I'm talking about an opportunity that he had where he could have picked his position. It's on his strong foot. It's not on his right foot, and people make that exception for him. It was on his left foot, and he went wide of the net. Salah used to play like inevitability was personified in him. We'll get that moment from Salah. Now he plays like he's second-guessing his own legend. Those back post chances are unforgivable. Last year, they're goals. You could have went to the bathroom or got yourself a drink, came back, and you would have been rest assured he would have scored that opportunity. This year, different story. You can sense the frustration. He's still our biggest threat. Don't get it twisted. But right now, he's our most uncertain threat. And that's an issue. Question, JK. Do you play him through this, or do you sit him to reset his mind?
Look, bro, he was sub against Galatasaray. Did it make any difference? Not really. He scored for Egypt. So for me, he isn't getting the ball as much as he did last season. Last season, boom, give it Salah, bang. This season, he's not getting that much input because he's not getting the ball as much. Konate is getting the ball more than Salah. It's as simple as that. Give him the ball, see what he does.
Big up Anfield Roar, by the way. Also, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. This narrative, and shout out to, I'm not trying to, I'm not just depicting your character at all. Because this idea or this narrative is being pushed quite a bit. Last year, the Premier League got 5 spots, the coefficient, which is graded on teams' performances in Europe, teams' performances within their league, the power rating of a team, okay, is going on from the coefficient that you establish. I think it's a common narrative that's pushed by rivals or even those that don't want to look at it objectively. But to say that the Premier League did not have teams that were to say that the top 6 or the teams in the Premier League were crap. Who won in Europe last year? I saw a Conference League be won by a Premier League team. I saw a Europa team have two teams that were at the bottom of our league be in the final of Europa.
No, the traditional top 6 did have bad league seasons. Arsenal apart, like Arsenal were quite good last season, weren't they?
Arsenal made it to a semi-final, one of the deepest runs they've had in some time last year.
Yeah, that was a good Arsenal side last season, and we managed to finish ahead of them.
Exactly, and that's the thing about not many leagues have teams in it where you could go, well, there are 3 or 4 deep of teams in that league that are on some phenomenal standard. Not many times can you see that. Bundesliga, Bayern Munich was considered to be off the pace last year, but Bayern Leverkusen had an extraordinary run for themselves. But other than Leverkusen and maybe even Bayern Munich, you don't go and say, oh, well, this, Frankfurt were top of Europe last year, or this team was top of, you don't say Stuttgart was top of Europe. No, you don't say those things. You can go as far as say La Liga. Other than Real Madrid, who had an off year somewhat, but Real Madrid and Barcelona, what other team out there you'd struggle to say Atletico Madrid was like is some extraordinary standard of football team comparatively to other teams in Europe. Let's go on to France. Other than PSG, who are we talking about? Let's go to
that was a
Italy.
good indicator for me of hopefully a good Champions League, because Atletico are a very good team. They absolutely battered Madrid in the derby, didn't they, the other week? And a few weeks ago, we managed to beat them. We let them back in the game, and you would expect that for a team the quality of Madrid, but we did win that game, and that was probably my favourite game so far this season. I enjoyed the Madrid game, and there's no reason we can't win the Champions League. Just because we're playing shit at the moment doesn't mean we'd be playing shit when the knockout phases start.
I just think you look at Europe. You look at if you're going to. We all say trophies are currency, correct? Right. So
of course, yeah, it's the only currency, isn't it?
Right. So we're looking at who's been winning Conference League, who's been winning Europa. Now, Champions League, different story. We have not performed to the level that we would like, but then again, City won the Champions League.
Yeah, City and Chelsea have won it in recent years. Exactly. It's not like the Premier League hasn't been without its Champions League winners in recent seasons. It's just like we don't win it every season and we don't dominate, but that's never that usual for one country to dominate the Champions League, regardless of finances. It just doesn't usually happen that way.
I'm just trying to get across that if you're going to tell me that Crystal Palace didn't have possibly the best year of their existence last year, Crystal Palace had possibly the best year of their existence, then okay, that's your opinion. If you're going to tell me that Newcastle hasn't had some type of resurgence last year, possibly having one of their best years in the last 10, 20 years, okay, that's your opinion. All right. Now, albeit United and Spurs, they're different stories. But then again, they still performed in Europe. And I'd go as far as to say that in their place were Newcastle. In their place was Villa. In the place of who we thought was going to contend, they're going to be like, oh, well, City fell off.
No, in the recent past, most of the titles have gone to Spain, but they've only gone to one club in Spain, and that's Real Madrid. Barca and Atletico.
JP said it well. He says he thinks that from a league standpoint, the traditional top European, that the top six that are always mentioned as being, the top six or the big six, right? We're not consistent. Which is a fair argument rivals can use. However, to say that they were all crap last year is absolutely disingenuous at best. And I think why it's disingenuous and why I always get so triggered when I hear it is because I believe is an opportunity for rivals especially to try to undermine a very, very successful year last year for not only us, but to undermine the title.
Look,
I can understand you didn't win the title. Oh, I'm gonna land here, Lee. You didn't win the title. It was given to you because all the other teams were crap.
Yeah, I can understand why people said it, because desperation sets in when a team you hate wins something. I've been there myself, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But no, it was a ridiculous thing to say, that we only won the league because everyone else was shit. Yes, City fell off a cliff, and that's the red herring, really. City weren't as good, and that's why you didn't win it. But there's a lot of other clubs. There were still 18 other clubs that weren't Liverpool or Man City that didn't win it, and we did. Arsenal had a good go at it, but that's what I liked about last season. We had the title wrapped up so early last season. It was funny. And I'm never a man to count his chickens, like, you know what I mean? But,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from, like, January onwards, like, I think we all knew we were going to win the title, didn't we?
Yeah. Yep.
Arsenal put up a good fight of it. Like you said, they got to the semis, the Champions League last year. They weren't bad. We were just better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just don't understand when. All right, I obviously I get kind of miffed and angry a little bit because I just think that's just like it's almost like, you know, oh, that's it's like, oh, you're wearing the belt, that's great, but you only won the belt because the heavyweight division is at the worst it's ever been. It's like, really?
I always support all the other Premier League teams in Europe, as long as it isn't Man City or Chelsea. I support all the other teams. If Newcastle playing in the Champions League, Tottenham playing in the Champions League, whoever else it might be, Villa, when Villa were in it last year, I support them. I want them to win. Why wouldn't I? Like, you know what I mean? The Premier League teams. And
Think about it. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to step on your last.
No,
point.
go on. That was it, basically.
I was going to say, think about it. Last year, this is just from, like, I'd say, as in if you're giving a power rankings or you're saying something along those lines, okay? Liverpool had an exceptional year. Let's just go beyond that. Arsenal had an exceptional year. Despite not winning anything, they still had a very exceptional year. Manchester City, I understand, is not at the extent of where they were normally are, which is like 80, 90 points, 80, high 80s, if not 90s in point tabulation. I get it. Them losing Rodri is similar to us losing Virgil van Dijk, in my opinion, in significance. And what did we do when we lost Virgil van Dijk that year? Struggled to get a result, but yet we persevered the same way City have. So I'll give City credit for the fact that they persevered to be at least third in the Premier League. You have Chelsea, the quote-unquote world champion. Chelsea, they won the Conference League as well last year. Despite the fact that they came in fourth place, you could still say that Chelsea had a considerably good year last year. You could go as far as to say, again, Newcastle had an exceptional year last year for themselves, getting the last spot in Champions League, winning a Carabao Cup against us. You could argue that, uncertainly, I would, at least because I had Villa getting into the top 5. You could argue that even Villa had an exceptional year last year, going deep into the Champions League, performing well, sputtering out a little bit towards the end of the year, but still performing well. You could go as far as saying that Forest had possibly the best year they've had in decades last year. Albeit they sputtered off towards the end, but they still had arguably one of the best years we've seen from Forest, to the point where people were considering, shout out to Wolfie, who was one of the biggest cheerleaders, thinking that they would get into Champions League production. There were times when they weren't necessarily contending for the title, but at least they were contending for top 4. You could make the argument that Bournemouth, who again is doing well this year, had an exceptional year last year. You can make an argument that Brighton had an exceptional year last year. And again, I said Crystal Palace. I've just rifled off 10 teams that I would say are exceptional teams that could possibly, if not, have shown that if they were in Europe, would perform excellent and well above any of the other leagues' non-quote-unquote power teams. And that's why I'm saying that the Premier League doesn't have real substance is disingenuous. Absolutely disingenuous. I didn't even mention Manchester United. I didn't mention Spurs. There were times when Fulham played exceptional last year. I didn't mention Brentford, who had an incredible run last year with Visa and Mbeumo. I didn't even mention them. But that's the level of competition you're going against every week in the Premier League. So don't hit me with the Premier League was off last year and they were subpar. Premier League has some exceptional teams.
No, it was the City thing last year. They'd won it 4 years in a row. They'd won the treble. They looked like, invulnerable. And then they did fall off a cliff massively. But that doesn't mean the rest of the division was poor just because City fell off it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was the great stories of all the other clubs that took the places of the traditional top six last season. Nuno's Forest were in the conversation right till the end, weren't they, for Champions League? And, he did it playing a defensive style and that, but that's allowed. That was good. That was fun. Iraola as well at Bournemouth, he did well, didn't he? Palace done well in the league. Chelsea only just about qualified for the Champions League late on in the season, didn't they? Considering the squad they've got. Yeah. That is a good squad, Chelsea, when everyone's fit. But everyone's
not. $1 billion squad.
Yeah, no, it is a good squad. That. And I think they do need to give Maresca a bit of time, maybe, because they chop and change too much. But I don't think that's going to happen. Going by what I've gleaned from reading their fan base's comments of late, a lot of them want him out, but he's got a great squad. It is a great squad. It just depends whether he's the right man for them, doesn't it? I hope he's not, because I don't like Chelsea. They're only second to Man United in the clubs that I don't like. And this is a new thing. I've always hated Man United, but Chelsea, it was only after the Abramovich buyout that started at 8. They made up for lost time, though, really well, Chelsea, and making themselves a hated club with a hated fan base. I will say that for them. They did it really quickly, so I've got to take my cap off to them.
Let's get into this. Let me get into these last couple points before I get GP into this conversation. I'm going to I'll add the link for you in a second into the this one, so you can come on to the show and or join the show and you can give your opinions on maybe some of these top 10 takes that I have. So I spoke on Salah. I only have 2 more points. I have 3 points. These last 2. Isak and Ekitike, player form. Look, Isak's quiet, Ekitike impacts, sub-energized attack. His substitution energized our attack, but let's not get it twisted. I am on the campaign to start both of these individuals together. I'm definitely on that campaign. So I've been on this campaign ever since we did. Ever since it was confirmed that we had gotten Isak, I've been on this campaign for the 4-4-2 diamond, and I have been effing. I was alone for a little while. I was looked at being crazy for other portions of it, but some of this conversation is starting to resonate more and more. Isak was supposed to be our polished number 9. Obviously, it's going to take some time to get some of the rust off of him, considering what Newcastle ended up doing with him. Instead, he looked isolated and sometimes uncertain. He had 2 half chances, but there's really not much rhythm. The one chance that actually went on goal was a decent save by their goalkeeper, but then again, it could have had a little bit more behind it. Maybe he tried to he ended up trying to do it doing a ground shot as opposed to lifting it a little bit into that other side of the net. Ekitike arrived, flipped the mode, relentless pressing, sharp runs, played a hand in the equalizer, hunger, change, tempo. Sometimes energy is more tactical than formation, in my opinion. So there are some that might argue. I'll ask this real quick question because I only got 2 more points. JK, are you with us, by the way, too? I'll bring it to you if you are. No? All right, I'll ask this then to you real quick. Lee, does Ekitike start over Isak for you right now? If you're gonna stick with the one striker concept, we're gonna save this 4-2-3-1. Is Ekitike your starter over Isak?
Yeah, given what we've seen so far, I think it is going to take a little bit more time to get Alexander up to speed. I was hoping that playing in the international break will have done that, but it's going to take a little bit longer, I think, before he's properly into the swing of things. That chance he had yesterday, like, he would have buried that, like, if he was properly fit. I think it was Kanate who created that one, which was it was a good pass. But anyway, yeah, I'd go for Hugo at the moment, like, because I think we're more likely to get something out of him. Like, I think it might take a little bit longer for Alex to start games, like, and be the striker that we know he is. So I would be starting Hugo, yeah, in the upcoming games.
Okay. I get my overall assessment for losses is some real pressure for this coach. He doesn't have much. He doesn't have long to really, work out the kinks on the training pitch. We're going to have a game on Wednesday. The confidence drain is severe. I think that's the one thing. Once you start second guessing yourself, once you start second guessing your teammates, maybe even second guessing the choices being made by the coach, that's when real issue can be seen in a club's performances. Chemistry lagging after the overhaul basically is what we don't want to see. This isn't just a slump, it's erosion. That's why I'm trying to emphasize that. Confidence slipping, patterns fading, players unsure where to stand when things go wrong. The 4 losses are going to strip belief. Chemistry takes time. We already emphasized that. People already talked about how it's going to take time for these players to get the kind of rhythm and the kind of understanding of their other teammates and the likes and such. But guess what? Elite football doesn't wait for feelings to catch up with you. The rebuild looks half wired, and unless you're on point, it does not matter where your feelings are. So looking ahead, we have a defining week against Frankfurt, and then we have a home game versus Brentford. Frankfurt away will expose whether we can manage our tempo. Brentford at home will test whether we can defend crosses. Jeez, that's sad that narrative is still existent. 2 games, 2 measuring sticks, right to react, to have a viral reaction to each. We're back in the fight, react wrong, and we're starting at a loss for this autumn. But again, I did put the GP. I did put the link in there if you're going to join us. So if you want to join us, you can join us on this conversation, because we're going to get into this little tactical board here a little bit. I'm going to do a quick, here's my fix in motion. I'm going to say this predominantly in the sense of Gravenberch at the base. On the right and left, I would like to see Salah, and I would like to see Jones. And I would say Jones now, seeing that McAllister just hasn't gotten it together yet. So I'd like to see Dom and Jones on the right and left. And at that 10, I'd like to see Wirtz. In front of him, I would like to see Isak and Ekitike. You can sub Salah. I know this sounds crazy. I've been saying it from the very beginning. Oh, wow. You have JP in the house. Oh, I'll let JP get a holler. Pick up, JP.
Big up, guys.
What's up, baby?
How's your paint?
I'm putting this. This actually is my fix. I'm gonna get into the panel's fixes for our team in 1 second. But that's how I would have it. I'd have Isak, and I'd have. If you're gonna ask me what my back line would be Bradley on the right. I know some might want to bring in Frimpong, but I like the balance that Bradley brings at right back. I didn't think he had a bad game last Sunday. On the left side, I'm going to tell you this, and this is something I've been emphasizing. Is if there was any other game that called for him to play in it, it was yesterday, and this coach missed the opportunity to put him in at that role, and that is Robbo should have been playing our left back yesterday. And then when you wanted to have some inclusion of adrenaline or urge or energy, whatever you wanted, that's when you bring in Kirkes. But I wanted consistency. I wanted composure. I wanted understanding with that back line. Robbo should have started that game for me. And then obviously, Virgil van Dijk is our captain, being our left center half. But when it comes to our right center half yesterday, this isn't necessarily saying that Konate had a horrible game yesterday. But what I am emphasizing is the fact that his offensive output, the way that he's able to deliver passes, the way that the teams, plural, have been saying to you, have at it, Konate. We're not scared that you're going to pinpoint passes or you're going to pick us apart, with your dribbling or anything like that. Have at it. It makes me emphasize the fact of what I've been asking for some time, and that is Joe Gomez should be our right center half, because Joe Gomez does have that passing capacity to perform to the level that I would like to see, the level that caused our coach in the game previously to have to put Gravenberch as our right center half because he wasn't able to deliver those kinds of passes. I would like to see someone that you have confidence in, and if our coaches have confidence in Gomez, I don't know what you're looking at, because Gomez has performed for us in many levels, right, left, center half, all of it. So I'm going to ask JP, since he's new to the panel here, which fullback pair fits the diamond, this 4-4-2 diamond that I'm proposing the best? Would you go Bradley? Would you go Bradley and Kirkes maybe? Would you go Frimpong and Robbo? Or would you go, I don't know, whatever mix-up that you want to do for your fullbacks? Because that is an issue for our team, is getting the fullback production that we've been so reliant on in the past.
Yeah, and big up the panel as well. Thanks for having me, tough man. I would agree with everything you're saying there. I would, especially if you're playing that diamond, you need that stability. So right now, if we look at the way in which Liverpool fullbacks are set up, Bradley and Robertson would be our most stable right backs and left back, because we know what we had them for some time. Yes. And we know what they could do. The little sample size we saw of Frimpong and Kirkes, it's still, the jury's still out on them. So that's why you tend to go with safer options. But as I said before, it all depends on how the style of the diamond you want to do. So if you're going overly aggressive and you want to put that press and that pressure on the teams, then Frimpong and Kirkes is your guy. So like how PSG does it with Hakimi and I forget the Mendes on the left side. If you want to do it that way. But like for me now, I think that's a little too risky, because we still getting things going. So for that kind of diamond shape that we go in there with, you would want to go with a stable back four, knowing that you could be strong in defense, because we're struggling defensively right now. So you're strong in defense, and then as time progresses and we get accustomed to that system, if it's working, you could even add a little more spice and be more dominant by adding that extra pressure with and Frimpong energy coming into games as well. So I can play with the two, Bradley and Robertson for now.
Yeah, the left and right for PSG is Mendes and Hakimi on the right. Yeah. So, and then and Mendes actually has been playing really well on that left side. JK, are you with us, JK? So double check.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna ask you this, because something that JP just brought up. Do you think that maybe our coach is too obsessed with trying to emulate what he saw with PSG for this team, and not allowing for us to have our own identity, as opposed to trying to mirror the identity of PSG?
Yeah, bro. Because like for me, if the fullbacks ain't working now with Kirkes and Bradley, give the other two guys a go, Robertson and
Frimpong.
And Frimpong, bro. Yeah, that's what I mean. Because he ain't even played, bro. I can't even remember his name.
He knows. Yeah, you're like, who knows who our right backs are?
He's like, who the hell's our right back? Yeah. So, but I'm going Frimpong and I'm going Robertson, bro. We have to.
Okay. Is it maybe too much to ask that Gomez should get an opportunity on this team?
Why not? It ain't gonna hurt, is it? That's how bad it is right now, bro. But I'm going Frimpong if I had to. I'm going Frimpong.
Okay, so even at right back, I mean, you could make an argument that he could possibly bring us some defensive stability plus the ability to go forward.
Stability. It used to be a shout a lot, like playing Joe at right back, but I'm not sure the condition Joe's in now. It'd be a good thing. I mean,
what condition? When is the last time you've seen him play?
Southampton.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Southampton.
You don't even know.
Like, come on, if he's not in, it's one of those things where I love Joey G. I'm sure all of us on the panel do, and it's one of those things where even I now am at the point where I'm just like, free Joey.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play this player, allow for him to go and play with another team.
That used to be one of my favourite Klopp wheezes or devices where he'd take Trent off and put Joe on, when we wanted to keep hold of a game. But, I mean, it could work again, maybe, playing Joe. I just don't see it happening, because the way Arnie's going now, we had Sobbers right back quite a lot. We've got Frimpong and Bradley, and if things get any weirder, we'll probably be seeing Wirtz at right back sometime soon. With Arnie's new evolutionary weirdness,
Stop. We're trying to bring some sense of calm, not not trying to light the fire even more. Kerosene on the fire here.
Bless him, Nante.
Big up, Milante.
All right.
Yeah, bless up everyone, man, in the chat. Bless up you guys as always, man.
Yeah.
Bless up,
we're talking about just where the state of our team, basically. We were just talking about a player I know that you love as well. This is one of your favorite players, Joey G. And I was just saying how, what does Joey have to do to get some type, as in, why is it that Ibu can play like crap and still get starts? Why is it that we could have no real consistency from our right back to the point where we have to play a midfielder in the role and Joey G can't get a start? I brought up Tyler Morton's comments earlier. I mentioned it on Kopish as well. Clifty pretty much, tried to shoot it down, said, oh, well, every coach has favorites and maybe that's just Tyler Morton, being a disgruntled player now that he's on another team and everything. I think he's just talking from his heart. He's mentioned that he's like, look, he believed in his performances with this team. He played in the cup. He played well, he thought. And what happened the very next day? He doesn't get start. He gets pushed back to the U21s. He is doing phenomenal in France right now. And it would be different if it was just Tyler Morton saying this, but it was also Harvey Elliott that came out and said pretty much the same, that this coach has favorites. And it's why I'm emphasizing the fact of Joey G, I think, deserves a start, but hasn't gotten it. Robbo, I believe, last game, called for us to have some type of player that knows the gravity of the game, knows how all the things are going to work out, and could have been Robbo at left back. We didn't see that. Florian Wirtz, who is honestly, I believe, one of our best, if not our only real creator when it comes to our team currently right now, and he doesn't get the start. What does it take for this coach to recognize these things? Or is it that this coach is do those statements that Tyler Morton, Harvey Elliott, do they really kind of speak volumes, which is, I believe it does, about our coach?
Yeah, just to add to their talk, man, penny for Curtis Jones thought as well, because he in the back of his mind, he must be saying what I need to do to get a start in front of McAllister.
Absolutely.
Right? So, I mean, a Scouser not playing in Anfield in one of the biggest games. Yeah, that kind of weird, So
we made the argument too on the preview to yesterday's game. We made the argument that Jones could be a starter in that lineup. Easily could be a starter in that lineup. I think we had Damas Basalai, we had Jones, and we had Wirtz playing in that lineup.
Mhm.
And the argument was because Jones gets it. This game, you can say what you want about derbies, but derbies are equalizers when it comes to, in my opinion, equalizers when it comes to your perception of how this game is going to pan out.
Yeah.
United could be on the worst form or the best form. It does not matter.
Mhm.
They will be on derby form most likely
Yeah.
when it comes to the derby.
Mhm.
Volante, what do you got to say, brother? What do you got to say? Go ahead. You can air out. I'm sure you've been holding back a little bit here. So,
Listen, I've done a lot of airing today. I just come from brands. I've done a lot of airing today. I've seen, like I said,
I can only imagine.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Darrington. I've seen a lot of. I've been going. I think on back and forth on Enz's channel. Video Grizz's comments with people and their so-called tactical.
Would you look at that shot by Andy? That's an interesting
You
shot.
will. I mean, you could, but again, we've got two fullbacks. I just want to see Joey as a centre back. If I'm honest, unless we have an injury crisis on either side, then yeah, you can play him. But I just want to see him as a centre back. To be honest, we've got two right backs, two left backs. They have to be used. So
okay. You had Andy and Lee both make good comments there. Well, what are you thinking about this? Does this coach play favorites in your mind?
Well,
or are you on the same level as Drifty and saying that every coach plays favorites? Just get over it.
Well, I think coach do have the favorites, and sometimes, but I won't be getting over it, to be honest, because as much as I've kind of I've had it with all these slot through, like I said, there's one thing, and as I said again, brands, I'm repeating myself, is one thing, debunking his tactics, which is fine, some of his decisions, which is fine, because it's not happening. He's making some questionable stuff, tactical, but when I hear some of these so-called people online and people saying, "Oh, he's a bald fraud. Oh, he's a fraud. He's a clueless manager. Oh, I knew it from back then in final." And I said it. I said, "Listen, these people, show me your badge. I beg you, please show me your badge. Please show me your badge. Show me these experts. Show me that. Yeah, show me the license, and I'll shut up." That's what I'm saying. There's one. Again, I was saying that, Brian, people getting upset saying you can't have opinion. They can't have opinion. I said, no, that's a bit of a stupid statement. Of course you can have an opinion. You've said it. I think we all said it about tactics. But when you're calling these clueless, he's a bold fraud, blah, 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 then I'm sorry, man. I'm shutting these people down. There's two people, JK. I can name people who've got qualifications, who've been scouting, but it doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. But, we just got a lot of Liverpool fans. Some fans are turning into Chelsea and Arsenal fans and experts on this and that. Oh, let's have a meltdown, but more precise the point. But look, at the end of the day, none of us are happy, right? I get that, and it's them scumbags. I can't stand United. You know what? I detest United. I detest them with a passion. Remember, the 90s was a horrible time. A horrible. I remember as young as I was, the 96 FA Cup final, planning how to do the double over us.
Yeah.
Made me sick. 1999, that made me sick.
Yeah,
Liverpool fan, yeah. I had Man United people.
Hip hop fans is a different story, but that's a whole other subject.
Before I put on some Nas, but anyway.
Right,
but
exactly.
yeah, but look, 1999, I saw the treble. I was sick. I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Sorry, well, Alex Ferguson, I can't stand him. Old whiskey man, I can't stand him. Honestly, he detests me. When I look at him, he makes me sick. I'm talking about football, not literally. So people don't get worried. I'm not, obviously, And here we are. And then I think all of us here on the panel and everyone, we, being bad, we hope redeem it. It's United. It's United. Hey, Man United, eh? Eh? Oh, Maguire, eh? Eh? Casemiro. Nubemo, eh? Ruben Amorim. Ruben Scumrin. Yeah? It was them frauds. They've been awful. They've been used to. You're thinking, you know what? Isak's gonna bang Wirtz. And whoa, yeah. Didn't happen, did it?
It didn't.
You are going nowhere as a club. The 90s are a nightmare that you can't forget. You know, usually if you have a nightmare in real life, you forgot about it like 15 minutes later, haven't you? You wake up all freaked out, and then you have a cup of coffee and forget about it. Like, whatever happened in your nightmare. But the 90s, can't blank that out of my head.
Can't blank this whole decade.
Yeah, as a club, I don't think we're going anywhere like at the moment.
And we had some good teams, by the way. It wasn't like we had.
No, we had some really good teams.
We had some really good teams.
Teams that should have won the league.
Yeah.
Teams who should have be sitting there. Sorry, 12th. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're perfectly fine. I was gonna say some players that really, really made you like players that you can get behind, you know, and really support. But yet, the performances on the pitch had nothing to do with their actual abilities, which is sad. And it was like you said, that was the decade of Manchester United's rise. That was very, very difficult. I would go. Here's something that I was going to bring up too. Here's a statistic here that I wanted to show. Now, in this statistic, it shows Liverpool and their vulnerability to set pieces. You see City and Everton, by the way, at the top of that list. 0. They have goals conceded per 100 set pieces faced in the Premier League in 2025-2026.
That is a sobering statistic.
That is
a horrible league table to look at.
Exactly. The fact that the only 3 teams we're better than is Forest, West Ham, and Leeds. I don't know what you need to. I don't know about your man management or what you would do with if you had a company or a team or a club or however you want to reference it as. You know, that's where you definitely make that you go beyond a bullet point for that one. You definitely have a segment of the day where this is an absolute attention to details segment. That is absolutely concerning. Absolutely concerning. And the sheer fact that we've lost the games that we've lost, other than obviously our Galatasaray game, which was we lost that on a dodgy, in my opinion, penalty call, something that isn't a penalty in the Premier League, but is a penalty apparently in Europe. But all the same, we have lost or have been scored on quite often from set pieces, from corners, or long throw-ins. They're now glorified set pieces in essence as well.
Well, one good thing is it can't get much worse because there's only 3 places below us at present. It has to get better, surely. I mean, Arnie and his team must be looking at it like, and I'd be shocked if things didn't get better in the immediate future, set piece wise.
But don't you think it's a complacency thing? Because for me, when a team shows me that they can defend set pieces properly, then you come in the other games and you're not doing it, then it has to be complacency and you being up for the game. Because Arsenal, we could all say here, we think, and I'm not sure the statistic, but I think Arsenal is the best set piece team from corner kicks, especially. And when we played Arsenal got quite a few corners and we defended really well against one of the top set piece teams. Right. So now we play in teams who may not have the quality of delivery like a Saka or Odegaard or a Rice, or even from a long throw, and we conceding goals maybe because of complacency, right? Because once I see a team can keep a clean sheet against a top team, especially a good set piece team, set piece ole Arsenal, they calling them. And then you come to a team like
Stoke FC, more like
Stoke FC, yeah. Then you come to a team like Crystal Palace, or you think then you're lacking focus in those departments when you're defending set pieces. So to me, is all about being up for the game. I was talking on another stream today and saying, because we are champions, a win against us will boost the morale for any team.
Absolutely.
So every team will be fighting against us 100%. We have no easy game. So let's say we playing Wolves, right? Everybody have Wolves to go down. If Wolves beat us, Wolves saying, nah, we not getting relegated. Now we be the champions. So
that's their final.
they're riding on the momentum, right? Look, Chelsea was in a crisis. Man United was in a crisis. They beat us. What happening now? They're back in a title race, right? So we have to understand that we can't get complacent. Everybody coming for us. And we proved that we could do it against Arsenal. And then the other teams now, we just drop in our level because it's not a big game, right? So it has to be complacency is what causing us to concede against these set pieces, because we've proven that we can do it. It's just we have to do it on a consistent basis.
Yeah, Manchester United are actually a good number of their goals have come from set pieces as well. Having known that, you would think that there would be a more attention to detail when it comes to our set pieces. But then again, could that maybe be? And I'll ask Nalante this. Could it be that the shuffling of a team, the way that we've shuffled players playing different roles, different positions, this and that for us, could it be that maybe that lack of consistency has created sometimes, because there is I heard this tactic least be brought out, that apparently when it comes to our set pieces, for instance, we go man to man, except we do a mix of man to man and zonal. And the only two players that play zonal defense on our set pieces are Ibu and Virgil. Everyone else goes man to man. So if that's the case, and I would go as far as I might be alone in this, but I would go as far as to say it looks like our set piece defense has gotten worse rather than better. Is there maybe not something of I don't want to go to zonal marking. I don't like zonal marking, by the way. I'd rather make it as just go man to man and just be better than that man that you're guarding. That's my personal opinion. Zonal ends up being like sometimes you got to second guess and think. At least that's my opinion. But when it comes to our set pieces, what is an answer that can make us? Because that's obviously something that we have to improve on. What is it that we need to do, in your opinion, Nalante?
Yeah, I think you agreed. Obviously, the dropping of the back four a little bit hasn't helped, but been more professional. Obviously, when Sobel came in, when Frimpong and Bradley was injured, he done great. 2 games very solid, but I think him, every time we're in trouble now, the last 2-3 games we're threatening to doing that, to go in that. It's just it's not in that consistency, the lack of form, and just the lack of form in the team. All of it is all rolled into one big ball. This is it, and obviously the injury with Leone obviously hasn't helped our cause. So now we're in position 1 injury away from another crisis until January. Because. I mean, Ibu, for once, he actually performed yesterday in his other way around VVD. But again, I've said so many times, VVD's he's 34. He's not getting any younger. And there's a point at time I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know what we're going to do. At some point, he needs to rest. He needs to be benched. But we just can't. And that's the worrying thing. We can't afford to do it. But we have to do it. But again, whether if Slot has to, I think, you know what? I think one thing about Slot, I think he's just gone back into his rebuttal of coming in last season, apart from 1 or 2 things I didn't like. Just being strong in terms of selections and dropping plays, or 45 minutes, you go off, this person goes on. He was doing that. And, I rate that. I appreciate that. I mean, obviously not to, the man on the wing, but, to everyone else, he was kind of doing that. And now he's kind of second guessing himself. With the players, he's trying to get that right balance. And would it be? I don't know. We don't know. But obviously, as all of us are Liverpool supporters, obviously it has to be sooner rather than later. Otherwise, But yeah, go on.
No.
That's it.
Otherwise what?
Yeah. Otherwise, again, the heat will ramp up on him. Obviously, let's just say again, hypothetically speaking, of course, if we lose next, let's just say 5-6 games in a row, all competitions, then oh boy, the slot outsters, it's going to be full force, and then mate, they're going to be doing party songs and Anfield waving flags, and then FSG will make a decision. But look, there's still hope. But again, we need to be consistent with our backline, number one, and number two, back to basics, and number three, again, you say form is temporary, class is permanent, and that's what the players need to get back to. That's it, really.
JK,
bro. Yeah, bro.
I think can all admit that we've seen some of the confidence been shaken by some of our players and some of our key players on the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
There was last year an air of confidence amongst our coach. Do you think that that's been shaken as well? Some people have been very critical of his comments in his pressers and the way he's been answering certain questions as well.
Yeah.
Do you think he still has the confidence that we need?
You know what, bro? I feel when you're like a manager of Liverpool, you got to run it like the mafia. Like don't talk too much. Don't, you know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. And especially if you're a manager of Liverpool, I think Klopp did it the perfect way, bro. He just said what they wanted to hear, kept it sweet, and kept it rolling. And I think Slot overcomplicates it sometimes because I think he's trying to portray an image to the football world. Hey, I'm Arnie Slot. And I think he does it too much by keeping Chiesa on the bench. It's a statement for me. It ain't about the football there. He's just using Chiesa as a bit of a victim. You know what I mean? And I think Slot doing it a bit too much. Bro, we don't care about your image right now. We care about results. And with that results, you'll get your image. That's how I see it. And I think Slot does it a bit too much, bro. He needs to take a chill pill and enjoy what he's got in front of him. Enjoy it, man. He's got words there. He's got Isak. He's got Ekitike. He's got big names in there. Enjoy it, bro. Do your best with that, what you got. No need to portray an image to us, guys. We know who you are. You won us the league last season, bro. So keep it low key. Keep it like mafia style. Keep it like be the boss.
One last point then, Lee. Before we get into this next segment, going off of what JK just said about our coach. Do you think that he's doing something? He's going to the extent of not playing Chiesa, for instance. He's been playing Chiesa a little bit more than last year, certainly.
Yeah.
And at times it looks like he's like forced to do it in essence, He in this game, surprisingly, for instance, I was surprised he didn't bring Rio in, or at least try to utilize him as a player in this game, considering that Rio's, youth and creativity could have been definitely utilized in this game as well. But what I was going to say is, do you think I must go as far as saying he's doing it just despite Chiesa, but do you think that our coach is not playing some players the way that they would like to be played simply because it would be a measure of saying he got it wrong? Would you go as far as that, Lee? I know you're talking about the birds and the bees in the chat there, but
with Chiesa, I don't think he was ever going to start the game the other day. I can't see him starting many important games, but I'd like to see him come on earlier, maybe sometimes, or on the evidence we've seen so far, like he could come on maybe earlier in the game rather than the last 15 to 20 minutes. I just don't know what's going to happen with him, but he is a good option to have. At least we've got him. He does offer something a little bit different to the other attackers. He likes to get a shot off early, doesn't he? If he can get in and around the goal, and you can benefit. You can get the rebound and stuff from shots, can't you? And, he's a good option to have still. Like that's one good. I thought he was going to leave, like lots of players that I thought might leave. I thought Endo might leave, but with Chiesa, I thought he'd want to leave for his career. but nobody came in for him, like, you know, with a good enough offer or a solid offer beyond wanting to loan him. So he's still here.
Could you even go real quick to sum it all up, because we're going to move into this next segment? Could you even maybe go that far as to say is maybe players like some players just know they're a starter. They don't have any. Mohamed Salah knows every day he's going to be a starter. Period. No pressure. None of that. But Chiesa had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. You know, like Chiesa's that he stayed another year because he knows his level. He knows he's got something to prove, and he wants to show it. And he's gotten love by a good number of fans that were always supportive of him from the gate, but also as his legend or as his, you know, his likeness started to increase amongst the fan base. Now it's to the point where he is, you know, one of those like cult heroes in essence, you know, emerging into one of those cult heroes at least. Could it be something like maybe it's just Chiesa? We don't have enough players with a chip on their shoulder to like try and prove some points. Harvey Elliott's not there. He had a chip on his shoulder. You know, Nunez had a chip on his shoulder. You can go as far as sometimes maybe even Lucho had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, you know. But now maybe it's not so much the case with a lot of the players. A lot of these players are just kind of like maybe Robbo, you could say. That's one of the reasons why I would like to see him play. But there's really not that many players on this team that have really that. They just kind of like know their place. Gomez isn't going to get a start, no matter how well he plays. Robbo's not really going to get a start, no matter how well he plays. They're going to go back to Konate. They're going to go back to Kirkes, period. And you can make an argument that both Kirkes and Konate have not had exceptional starts to this season. Yet they still start.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's just get into this. All right. I guess Lee doesn't want to answer that one. That might be too much for him. I understand. Let's just get into
very quickly. I was going to say, like, look at yesterday. Ekitike and Chiesa are probably our most informed sort of players.
Yeah.
Both on the bench.
Yeah.
And they both look good when they came on.
Ekitike is another player that has a chip on his shoulder, especially now. Because now he's a 70, 80 million pound player, you know, obviously was coveted by big teams. That's now looking at a player that hasn't played in months, automatically be asserted as a starter above him. Obviously, because he's the 120 million pound player or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
but I can understand it. Isaac needs game time. Come on, you know what I mean? All of us are happy he's getting game time and starting games and stuff. But just looking at the picture we're in right now, you got to play informed players, bro. And Konate and Kirkes are not in form. Put them to the bench, bro. Play Gomez and play Robertson. Give them a break. Say, you know what? It ain't working out, lads. Take a breather. Frankfurt is the top game to do that in. I don't care. I'm playing Robertson and Gomez in that game.
Shout. Preach. All right. Let's get into these real quick. You can give a little bit of a synopsis of why you maybe want to bring the rating you do, but if you can, let's just like try to get these ratings in real quick. Because I think two of our new summer signings were like, in my opinion, were 4s and 5s out of 10 at least. And that right there sums up what I thought this team's performance was yesterday. Underperforming, unbalanced, and still struggling to find rhythm that defines a top side, which I believe this team has the ability to be. We could talk about stats, we can talk about XG, but at the end of the day, it's about impact and it's about, you know, what's the final score is. That's the most important thing. And too many players just aren't delivering in consistency enough. So with that said, I'm going to start off with, I thought Marmardashvili was a 5 out of 10. Marmardashvili should have done better with Mbeumo's opener, I think, personally. He dropped a cross, though he did make 2 solid saves in quick succession before the interval. No chance with the winner, I think. I think that was just, you know, he had no opportunity to save that. That's why he was like, anytime you see a goalkeeper kind of like freeze, you know it's a good goal. Early laps set the tone. He's still adapting to the life under the lights at Anfield, I think. It's going to be a learning curve that he's going to have to learn quickly, you know. Again, I did say maybe my assessment that he's no Kelleher is maybe harsh, but let's just be honest. When Kelleher would get between the woodwork, it wasn't like, oh, we miss Ali.
Yeah.
Kelleher's going to go in there and do his business that we need, to get done. And that's what we need out of Mamardashvili. I had him as a 5 out of 10. Let's just go around the horn here. Lee, what was your score for Mamardashvili?
I'll give him a 6.
Okay. JK?
Yeah.
And if anyone
5.
wants stats, just tell me. If you want to, before you, assess something, if you want a stat or something like that, just tell me and I'll give you the stat. But
Well, for me, the first goal, he should have saved that.
Yeah.
100%. So I'll give him a 5.
5, 2. Okay.
Yeah, I would say a 5 because some of the corners as well, I wasn't feeling confident. Where he could claim as well. So like I know Allison would have been claiming those corners or even punching it. So I saying 5 for sure. Yeah.
The one that I referenced where he dropped the cross was the one that dropped. I think it was Sesko or it was someone there in front. Luckily, or Mason Mount, something like that. And we're just lucky that he didn't really get ahead of that one. All right. Malante had to drop out real quick. So then let's just move on to Malante's back. All right, Malante. Do you want to give your shout for Mamardashvili real quick before we move on to the back line?
Yeah, Mama, I agree with the guys. Not great. 5.
5. All right. Connor Bradley. I'm going to go with Connor Bradley. I don't think Connor Bradley had a poor game, but let me put a disclaimer on this. I didn't give anyone over a 6 in this game in my rating. So like you can grade it for whatever you want to grade it. I gave Connor Bradley a 6 out of 10. We'll go again in around the horn. Lee, what's your grade for Connor?
6.
Okay. Okay, JK.
Yeah, I'll go with 6 as well, bro.
6. All right.
I'll
JP.
go, 5.5.
Couldn't get the 6. Just couldn't do the 6.
Don't score that.
I got you. All right.
Hey, Dreamy's teaching us maths tonight. Here you go, man. That's all points. Hey, if your kids don't know, now you know.
Yeah.
All right. Malante, what was your grade? You can give a letter grade or a number grade, the same thing.
Yeah, sure. 10 for effort.
You gave him a 7.
No, I said 10 for effort.
10 for effort. Oh, wow.
No, I'm joking. No, on the serious note, 6. Yeah. He's okay. He was okay. He was all right.
Yeah.
6. Yeah.
All right, let's move next to him, which was Ibu. Look, I thought Ibu was decent defensively. I just thought that he doesn't produce what I'd like to see offensively for us. We mentioned all the finer points, what I said earlier. I gave Ibu a 6 out of 10 as well. What would you give Ibu, Lee?
I'm going to give him another 6.
Okay. All right.
I know it's uncreative as I've marked everybody else 6, but I don't see no reason to stop the 6 marking now.
Okay. How about for you, JK?
Better than what he's been. He did a beautiful pass to Isaac. But I've said this about Kanai. His passing has got improved a lot. He's very good at passing now. I've noticed he's done that this season. He's definitely improved his passing, but I'll give him a 6 as well.
Okay. How about for you, JP?
To me, he was the only light in the defense. He was defending really well. To outshine Van Dijk is a big thing in my opinion. But as you said, passing wise and that. So again, I'm not going quite 6, but this time I'm going 6.5. Yeah, because he was the best defender we had in that game. So yeah, 6.5. Yeah.
Okay. I see you shaved the 0.5 for
Bradley.
I got you. Okay. I got you. All right. Milante, how about for you? What would you give? What would you give Ibu?
JP stole the words out of my mouth. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Then same score, 6.5.
Okay. That's a good score for Ibu, I guess, considering. Van Dijk. All right. So our captain. Let's talk about our captain. He had a mixed one yesterday. He accidentally took out McAllister.
Boy.
Yeah, that was bad early in the match, and had to defend on the front foot most of the game. I also thought that when he took out McAllister, he needed to show some sense of
Urgency.
urgency. He needed to like get in front of the player, as opposed to try to like guide the player into something that the player ended up taking advantage of. In the closing minutes, he went up top trying to make something happen, but nothing came out of it, unfortunately. We've seen him do that before. I know he has played striker in his lifetime. Not saying that we want him as a striker, but I am saying he has played up front before. I gave Virgil a 6 out of 10 as well. I thought it was margins between the two. I did think that Ibu had a little bit of a better game, but yeah, I gave him a 6 out of 10. Lee, what would you give our captain?
Another 6.
Okay. How about you, JK?
I'm going to give him a 4. Red Armchair knocked the nail on the head. He just wanted to blame Kirkes for everything.
Oof.
And he feels like that. I think
I'm sorry.
it feels like, you know, and
You're
that
right
left side's not
about that.
the left side's not looking great, bro. I think Kirkes is a good player, but I just feel right now he's just been chucked in, and he's sort of trying to, you know, when you're in a swimming pool and you're trying to learn how to swim, and you're sort of flapping away, trying to get your bit of to stay in the water. He's like that, and I think it's going to take him a bit of time. Say again, bro.
Nah, I said he needs a lifesaver, lifeboat, needs a paddle float.
Yeah, he needs
something.
He needs a life vest.
Yeah, life vest. There you go.
And I don't think Virgil's going to give it him.
Oh no, you're right. The reason I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at your assessment. I was more so laughing at the thought that it arose when you said that he's trying to blame Kirkes for everything. There was that one play when Virgil kicked the ball off of Kirkes' face.
Oh my lord! Yeah, that was wild.
Yelling Kirkes, and I was like,
"Oh mate, that was dangerously close to going in." That
I know. It was just like, come on, man. Like,
that's Maguire's winning goal was. That could have been worse if that was the winning goal.
To be fair to Virg there too, because usually when you're playing in the defense, what Virg was telling him is that give me a shout that you're there. You know, because you seeing the ball coming, I can't see behind me, so I trying to clear. So give me a shout. So it's more like Virg was telling him, oh gosh, tell me that you're there so I don't have to make that bad clearance kind of thing. But Virg, you had to do better.
He almost like broke the guy's nose.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's gotta hurt. Oh,
yeah.
And you can see Virgil's just like, I'm gonna hold this back. It's like, it was funny. All right, Nalante, what did you give? What'd you give, JP? I'm sorry.
I would say a 5. His urgency in the tackles wasn't there. You know, like you're backing off. You're not aggressive enough. As my captain, I expect you to be on it. You had a center man in the stands from early to center message. So his aerial duels with Van Dijk, you're always getting that aerial duels winning. So for that reason, I just bumping up to a little 5 rather than the 4. So just a 5 with it. Yeah.
7 out of 9 for aerial duels. And Ibu was 6 out of 9 for aerial duels, if you're wondering. Nalante, how about for you? What was your rating for our captain?
Oh yeah, big VBD. What was funny is, the thing we're talking about when he gets Kirkes' mouth. Virgil was the head teacher, and Kirkes was like the pupil. He was looking sheepish after that. He's like, "Oh, what did I do, sir? Sir, what did I do?"
Yeah,
like, God, wow.
Yeah, that hurt.
Fell for me a lot. But VVD. Listen, if Ubers had terrible games, VVD he was terrible. I'm sorry. He's a 3 for me. Ooh. He wasn't great at all. He's poor. He was really poor.
Wow. All right then. He needs to definitely step it up then, if that's the case. getting 5s and 4s. Wow. All right. Well, let's talk about the man that got kicked in the face. And that is Milos Kerkez. I gave him a 4 out of 10 performance. I think he looked nervous. He was uncomfortable against Ahmad and Cunha at times. One decent tackle, even rebounded into a chance for United. I just think that he's too excitable when pressing forward, and when your left back loses control, the whole shape falls apart. He's talented, don't get it twisted, but the inexperience shows at times. There are growing pains that we're going to have to live with. But I just think that's why I wanted Robbo to be in there, because I wanted the composure, at least someone that I would have a sense of knowing what the event is, and not have to be kind of led by the hand as to how to navigate what we're going to have to see in that game. So I gave him a 4 out of 10. That might be harsh. That's one I know I've been giving out some from the other panelists, some very nice grades.
Generous.
That was not a nice one, I know. 4 out of 10. Lee, what's your grade for Kerkez?
Another 6.
Okay. All right. JK?
Straight on 5, bro.
5. Okay. JP?
A 5 for me as well. It's just like you said there, 12th man. I just find that he's a little too nervous. Even with his attacking play, you win the interception, but then the interception bouncing off your foot to go back to the Man United man. And that's due to the fact of, you're too excited, no composure. So both in defense and attack, a little shaky still. So yeah, I feel he needs to come out the firing line now. Let Robbo take a couple of games, and then you're embedding him.
And you work him back in.
Yeah.
I'm down with that too. Nalante.
Yeah, good points from Jay, but yeah, I agree with that. Same as you, 12, 4 for me. 4.
Okay. All right. Let's move into the midfield real quick. Ryan Gravenberch's progressive passing in the first quarter of the game helped us settle, I think. Some could ask the latter part of that first half. The other quarter of that first half was a little bit different story. He found those pockets and linked well, but as the game wore on, his influence kind of faded. Mm-hmm. He took a knock early in the second half and had to come off, which is concerning. A shame, because he was one of the few players to move us vertically from our midfield. I think that's something that we need to figure out. McAllister, I'll move on to McAllister in a second, but I gave Grav a 6 out of 10. At least that's the grade I'm gonna. Got a 6. There you go. How about for anyone else? What was your grade for friend Lee?
Another 6.
Okay.
Yeah, same as, bro. 6.
6. Okay. How about for you, JP?
Yeah, I would say 6.5. Graf was the only one in the midfield that was trying at least something. And I mean, for the other two, it was probably due to tactics, but and in points of the game, you were only seeing Grav alone in the middle. And I was kind of confused as to why that is. But all in all, to help protect the back four and to try and get those progressive passes, I'll get a 6.5 for Grav.
Okay. Nalante?
Gravy, 5.5.
Oh, here, I'll get you for you.
Gravy. He's not gravy. He's lazy gravy. 5.5 for Gravy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. McAllister. Okay. Before I don't want to get anyone. I know this is going to get a lot of people rattled. McAllister had to recover from the early accidental elbow from Van Dijk that went unnoticed by, I guess you call him a referee, but some might not. Michael Oliver. To his credit, I think he did grow into the game a little bit as the match wore on. Started to look like his old self a little bit, more comfortable a little bit with some of the things that he was being asked to do before he got being subbed. But I still thought it was not to the level that we're usually used to of him being the maestro. I gave him a 6 out of 10. What would you have given him, Lee?
6.
6. Okay. All right. JK?
About a 4, bro.
Ooh, ouch.
Not ready to play, bro. He's not ready to play.
All right. Okay. JP?
4.
4 from you too.
Yeah.
Wow. Oof. All right. So you're kind of like the tiebreaker. Got 2 6s and got 2 4s. Nalante, what are you going to bring in?
No, I'm sorry. Castor's all for me. He's lost in the wilderness. 2.
You going a 2?
Yeah. Not for me.
1 for each leg.
Yeah.
Wow. It's no love. No love from getting almost like the people's elbow from
Yeah, can you give him an extra point for his hat? I liked his hat.
Yeah,
When he first put it on, I thought, will this make him play worse?
Yeah.
his little bonnet. He had a little bonnet.
It's just going to fuck him up in his brain.
Yeah.
But I thought he was all right. I didn't think he was that bad.
All right. Well, then let's talk about the man that just can't find a home for his services, and that is Szoboszlai. I thought he brought intensity. He had energy. He was pressing. He's one of the few players on the pitch that does press with the intensity that we're used to at least. He was winning second balls, but when he was moved right back in the last half hour, I think his impact disappeared. I think we lost structure when we started shifting players around mid-match. It disrupts. I think it personally disrupts rhythm and control when you're just haphazardly putting players into certain roles for a little bit, and then later on, when you have players that play that role on the bench, and then later on put them in anyway. I gave 6 out of 10 for Dominic. What'd you give Dom? Or maybe I should go to Lante so we can get Lante and JP so we can get the low grades out. We can rip the Band-Aid off. No, just joking. No, Lee, what'd you give? What'd you give him?
6.
Okay, 6. All right. JK. Where do you give him?
I will give him a 7, bro. The guy don't stop.
Oh, wow.
So for his engine, he's the only one who tries, bro. What I was gonna say.
Wow, wait. That's our first 7 of the day. That's our first 7 of the day.
Okay.
Okay, then. All right. Good for Dom getting a 7.
Yeah.
Great. JP.
I will give a 6.5. Yeah, a lot of people do understand the importance of Szoboszlai, so I see the effort every game, and he's one of our most important midfielders. So, and his set pieces were good as well. So just we need people to be on the end of it. So a 6.5. Good shift from them.
Okay. Yeah, be sure to mention that on more chats and panels that you're on, by the way.
Yeah. No, I'm always an advocate. A lot of people don't understand without Szoboszlai in the system, it doesn't
It
work.
collapses.
So everybody just want the GA, but you have to understand that just like how Henderson was kind of industrious for us in that era, getting much GA, the legs is important as well to make the part of the team function as well. So he doesn't get enough credit, but I will always be here to support him because he puts in a shift all the time. And right now he's the only one who in Liverpool who could, with Ekitike, could only lift his head high and say winning performances week in, week out. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Volante, how about for you? What do you got Szoboszlai at?
He done all right, yeah, like I said, but just nothing. But yeah, 6 for me. 6.
All right. This one, I'm trying to think of who we should start with on this one. I guess let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Mo Salah. Mo Salah was sharper than he's been lately, but that's not saying much. He took on Shaw and Dallo well and created a solid chance for Cody. plus had a header saved, but signs are not looking good. He's not vintage Salah, nowhere near vintage Salah when it comes to the levels of influence on the pitch. He looks sometimes out of rhythm. He looks sometimes not even bothered. And in essence, I think that again, those shots that he missed were not only problematic. He only had 3 shots, by the way, but the shot that he missed where he didn't even hit the goal, and he's 4 yards, 5 yards out from it, and he doesn't even hit the goal. He doesn't even hit, and what I mean by didn't even hit the goal, he didn't even hit the side work, the side netting. He didn't even hit the side netting. It was as if, like, in his mind, the goal was 10 feet to the right. I'm gonna go 5 out of 10 for Salah. Sorry, 5 out of 10 for me. What was your grade for him, Lee?
For Mo, I've gone 6 for everyone so far, but I'm in a hard-ass mood now about Mo.
Okay, all right.
He's the only one who's going to get different.
Okay, I got you. Mohamed Salah gets you
emotional damage.
I'm sorry, Mo. I'm sorry, but somebody had to get a 5, and it's you this week.
All right. JK.
I'm gonna go 5 as well, bro.
5. Okay. JP.
I might be the villain, boy, but right now, one Salah play with 10 men. So I go in with 3.
Talk about it.
I'll go in with 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Milante.
Well, if I'm Penguin, you're the Riddler, JP, because I think we're going to be filling the brothers with this next rating. Actually, it's like I said, I've said it, and I've said it for a long time. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet and be the bigger man, and he stunk yesterday. Apart from the 2 shots, he stunk 2.
It's like a game of limbo. How low can you go on this one? All right, I got you. All right.
Hey, if you just give us the prize money, I think you, JK, and Lee will go low, like me and JP.
So we said,
All right. Well, then, how about for his counterpart on the other side? Cody Akpo was one of our few bright sparks. Relentless pressing, dangerous movement, hit the woodwork 3 times, albeit one from across. Still found the equalizer in one of his shots, showing persistence, hunger, even when things aren't really falling into place around him. I know some people have really been very critical of Cody, because he doesn't present the same type of creativity that you have, or creative options that you have from a Lucho on the left side. A lot of people are like, all he knows to do is to like cut inside and take a shot, cut inside, take a shot. That's all. But we have seen him start to try to go left, try to use the byline and try to get crosses in. I said that I originally said I wasn't going to give anyone over a 6. I'm going to be, now that we have apparently a part of this, part of the scheme here. I'm going to have to go and say a 7 out of 10 for Cody for this one. I gave him a 7 out. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Originally, I was going to give him a 6, but I'll go 7. I'll be generous. What was your rating for? I thought 1 also, because his goal really sparked any remote chance of hope in this game was sparked by, I thought, really his first shot to hit the woodwork. I don't know how that didn't go in, by the way.
Yeah.
But the goal he scored actually sparked some type of hope, despite the fact that I don't know if the rest of the panel did this or not, but even even when I saw him score, everyone around me was reacting. I was just sitting there being like, I gotta wait to make sure he wasn't on sides.
Yes.
I don't want to get, you know what I mean? I don't want to be, like have the synopsis of VAR come down on me. So, but Lee, what was your rating for our agent Cody?
Cozy, I'll give Cozy the 7. The one I took away from Mo, I'll give the extra one to Cozy.
Okay, all right.
For at least providing some of the bright spots. Okay, he didn't finish, but he did look dangerous. That's enough for me. I'll give him man of the match.
Yeah.
All right. JK, are you going to be part of our
7.
justice gang here, or
Mhm.
are you going to be part of the
I
villain
guess 7.
squad? I'll just play. What are you doing?
7, bro.
7? Oh wow! All right, Justice Gang. For those that have seen Superman, at least that's a little reference. But all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
JP.
Almost everybody said it. Almost dangerous attacker. 7 man of the match.
All right. Nalante. All right, Nalante. Are you about to do your you say Penguin or Lex Luthor? What are you doing? What are you doing for
Oh.
agent?
Man, did the Joker, man. Depends how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh, you know what, man? That simple open goal header, man. Oh, man, he should have buried that.
Oh.
God, yeah, but I can't. Yeah. Sorry, I know. Just quickly about Cody. You know the thing with him going to the touchline. I remember at Chelsea, he kind of for the first time in a while switch up his game, and then when he took, was it who's on his side up? Was it James or Cucurella? I think Reece James at the time. He took him on the touchline, and he got swiped, which was a blatant foul. The referee didn't call it, and that's all Cody needs to do. Mix up your. Yeah, we know he ain't got the dribbling of a Diaz,
Yeah.
but just mix up your game, and he kept at it. That header, oh God, man, he should have better. But listen, you know what? To be fair, post, 7, I'll give him a 7.
Oh, all right. I thought you were gonna go villain arc, but all right, cool.
Yeah, 7,
Because I mean, when you said that missed header, I was like, oh, he ain't getting no 7 now.
We'll be fighting over Paddy's Euro these days, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, that was bad. That was just that was bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, last but not least, Isak, or number 9, was on for possibly, I think, the longest run I think he's had so far as a Red. Snatched that one chance, hit the keeper's leg on another. The service into him was. The service into him was reminiscent of what I've been complaining, what I was using as my defense of our strikers last year, and that is poor. Our number 9s our strikers do not get fed at all. Really, it is not an open buffet of victuals for them. Okay, but he's got to do more with what he gets. Obviously, slightly better in the second half, but still. Not the statement performance that we were all a breakout statement performance we were hoping for from our 100 million plus pound striker. I gave Alexander Isak a 5 actually yesterday. What would you give Lee? What would you give him, Lee?
I'll give him a 6. Isak.
Okay. All right. That's my villain arc, I guess. All right. 6. Shay K?
5.
Okay. All right. JP?
Yeah, I will do the villain arc here. So I will go with a 4. And just for the reasons you said there, 12 man. It's not due to him per se, but because he's not getting any service, so I don't have anything to rate him on in terms of the service that he getting. But why I give it a 4 is because Nalante was talking about Gakpo's header. I mean, that chance for Isak is a sitter, right? For the money we paid you for, and that chance for Isak is a sitter, and you didn't score it. So I mean, no chances created, and you didn't bury a sitter chance. It has to be a 4. Absolutely.
Okay. Malante, you want to finish the starters for us?
Yeah, Isak. Yeah, I mean, I know he did get service, but he did help himself, man. He's movement, and there's one time again he should have played Salah in, but again he was overthinking it. After yeah,
Oh yeah.
With the way
yeah,
Salah's moving, he might have been like,
that's true. But sometimes you got to play the ball. Sometimes you got to think about
Yeah,
your teammate, and yeah. And as much as he didn't help himself as well with receiving the ball. And yeah, he should be again. I know there's leeway, but he should be bearing that chance for what we paid. So no, it's a 2 for me. It's a 2.
okay. Wow. Whoa, 2. Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
2. Yeah, nominous
We'll make sure I
majority.
heard that right. All
Yeah,
right.
2. Yeah.
All right. All right. We're gonna go. I'm just gonna go through the bench really quickly. And I'm not going to give a rating to Frimpong since he was on so late in the game. He really didn't have that much of an opportunity to make a real presence. So I'm only going to ask for 4 ratings, but I'm going to give all 4 at once, and I'll ask the same of the panel. The bench gave us a little spark, I think. I think the bench actually played over than what we saw from our starters, which is certainly, again, troubling. Ekitike came on lively, took a shot wide, Link played well, looked eager. Wirtz was tidy. I think this whole narrative about Wirtz is subpar, or he's been crap or whatever, I think is a poor narrative. If you really start to look at the numbers and also start to assess what it's not necessarily what he's doing per se, it's more so what his teammates are doing with the service that he's providing, and he has been providing some real opportunities for players around him. He helped keep the ball alive for the equalizer and kept probing into tight spaces, which I enjoyed. Pause. But Curtis Jones did what he does, and that is play, maintain possession, was balanced in the midfield, could arguably be one of the most loudest shouts for deserving of a start, by the way. Chiesa, again, look, I don't know what it takes for this guy to get some real quality minutes, but he has been certainly our Harvey Elliott, or just our spark plug off of the bench. He looked like a player with intent, and it really started to transpose onto other players onto the team. It's just frustrating that the energy from the subs is arriving when we're already chasing the game instead of dictating the game. So I gave Ekitike a 7. I gave Florian Wirtz unfortunately a 6. Curtis Jones a 6. And I gave Chiesa a 7. What are your ratings for all 4 of those players? You can just rifle off all 4, Lee.
For Curtis had to go to some appearance, like what was asked of him, he did when he came on. Hugo was all right as well. In fact, all the subs were okay, actually. I'm trying to think if there was one that wasn't. I would probably give the best mark at the subs, give the best mark to Curtis. I thought he was good when he come on. He was neat and tidy, did his job in the middle there.
Okay. Okay, JK, I know you're gonna be bouncing out, so throw your last 4 for the subs here, and then
I'll give them all a 7 because the energy shifted as soon as they came on. You know what I mean? The game was downhill, so I'll give them all 7. Hopefully, they'll start on Wednesday.
Yeah, so there's
Frimpong,
in a game I'd say close to being a must-win game for us in this.
Yeah, it is a must-win. Yeah. So, guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Okay, definitely. Thank you.
Peace, bro.
Nice one, JP. Easy now.
JP, what are your 4 ratings?
I'll go with JK there, but I'll just drop the ratings for the other 3 for 6.5, and Chiesa, because Chiesa got the initial assist.
He did.
I'll give him the 7, right? But like 6.5 for the rest, and Chiesa gets 7.
Okay. How about for you, Namate?
Frimpong, obviously I'll ignore him just because he didn't have enough time. Even though he used the little time he's used. Chiesa 7.5. Wirtz 6.5 and Curtis 6.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have our grades for our rankings for the club or for the entire team actually that got to play in that game in our 2-1 defeat to Manchester United. I saw in the chat someone say something about Virgil van Dijk was humble in his post-match reaction. The statement that he gave was after the match, Virgil said what we're all thinking, I think, that Liverpool were too sloppy at the back and too rushed in possession. He said the team worked hard to get back in to the game, but gave away a very sloppy second goal. He also says something key, I think, and this is what I'm going to ask the question of the panel to see what their response to the statement is. We have to stick together, not as players, but as clubs, but as a club and fans. I think that's positive leadership. It also shows awareness that this is a fragile moment for the squad. I think he's right. I think you can see the effort, but the reality is we've lost 4 straight, something no Liverpool side has done since I would guess most of us remember. But can anyone guess the year that this has happened last time this has happened?
I think it was 11 years ago or so.
Exactly that. 2014.
Yeah.
2014. So that's not a blip anymore. That's a pattern that has to be recognized. So what are your thoughts about his statement? Do you think that's a solid statement, obviously, or is that just, PR? That's just him saying something that he has to say, but I don't think maybe he even believes it. I'll ask Nolante, then JP, and then Lee. Or I'll ask you, JP. I'm not taking that question.
I mean, as I said, I trust Van Dijk. He's really humble when he speaks. He's honest as well. If the team needs to be criticized, he will be the first to say that they're not happy as well. And I guess it's down to him as well to have that leadership on the pitch, because we kind of up and down. So when Konate has a bad game, he has a good game, but then when Konate gets a good game, somebody else. So we need to understand we are champions. Everybody is coming for us. We have no easy games this season, and I do feel for the players, because it's never easy losing a comrade. So rest in peace, Diego Jota, and they're going through a lot right now. And he said it. We as fans need to not be too emotional, not get into, because it's a tough time. We never retain our championship, and we as the fans and the players need to stick together. And I really do think that if we stick together and the club, club slot really starts to be fair to his players and play players in form, then I'm not seeing any reason as to why we can't still be in a title race. But we really need to really stick it out and get through. Yeah.
We need to fix it up now.
Yeah.
How about Lee? How about for you?
Things do look a bit bleak at the moment after 4 defeats on the spin. I mean, the 4th defeat could have came against any team, and I'd have been annoyed, but for it to come against United, it's made the pain that bit more acute. But things can surely only get better. I mean, I'm saying that before the United game, and it didn't happen, but there's got to be some change coming sometime soon. I don't think Arnie's that bad a coach, like that he can't sort it out. We're just expecting a lot after the way things went this season, and then after the great summer we had, we're expecting a lot. And it hasn't quite come up to standard so far. But, I think things will. At some point, like, we're going to click, or the new players are going to click. I've got enough faith in Arnie that he can use the players we've got to get some sort of form out of us, like, sometime soon. And yeah, I definitely won't give up on the title, like, with only 4 points in. I am a bit worried because Arsenal do look ominous with the way they're getting these
The internet
narrow
will break.
wins fairly
The internet will
easily.
break.
Yeah.
If Arsenal win a title this year, the internet will break. It'll break in half. That'll be like the dimensional split or something, or the multiverse. Like something.
Yeah, there's
Whatever.
a huge part of me that would rather see it go back to the Etihad like than to the Emirates. But
Absolutely.
they've still got it all to do because they have fell apart like in the past, like and bottled it. I don't think they've ever bottled it. Bottling it's one of those things that happens when teams like get close to it and then just fall apart. They've never actually fell apart in any of these title races they've been in. They just haven't been good enough, like over the long, over the distance, the long term. But so yeah, they like worried me a bit. Like they've made good additions and they're looking good. And like I say, it's the way they're winning that's worrying me at the moment. They can always just see, even if a game that they can't get no joy in, it's a fucking corner, and next thing you know, they're won.
Every time they line up,
that is a bit worrying. But yeah, I think we've got enough about us that we can cope with it. Just if we can get to January without any more injuries in the centre back position. But also that the midfield's a massive problem, isn't there, at the moment? We haven't looked good in midfield, and there's basically fuck all we can do to change it, but carry on playing the same players. I mean, what else can we really do in the midfield than what we've been doing? We've just got to keep with it, like, that the new players settling in, like Vert and Isak, that'll make the difference, like, once the change comes.
Well, then, what do you think, Nolante? What are your before we wrap up this show? What are your thoughts on what our captain had to say? Before I know you got scared, or it looked like you got scared and bounced out on us before you had to answer the question.
No, no,
I know you got no scared business in you.
No. Stand on business, me. But I mean, was not really much to say. Just saying what typical captain would say. So there's not really much. It's all talk, really. And of course, he's getting asked a question, so he has to say it. He's got to answer it. So the players have to step up their actions. Like I said, Slot. It's a crisis, but I'm not gonna over consume myself. As I said, previously today, too many times of the Slot out fraudsters, the Liverpool fans on certain channels winning him to lose, and so they can get him out and say I was right.
I think that kind of fandom is
yeah. Oh, they're in it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
incredibly something that's existent and something that is horrible, I think, as well.
Yeah. I just want to add there too, right? Because like I'm kind of split in the middle with Slot, because I like to give credit where credit is due, and I have seen instances last season where I was very pleased to have Slot as my manager. I said it with the Fulham game, the Man City away, the two Tottenham games, the Aston Villa game. So like there was sample sizes where I saw, well, wow, this guy, he has it. But like on the other end, when I look at how managers deal with egos on teams and certain pressure situations, so like the Everton game, the Man United game when we drew 2-2, the both PSG games, and the Southampton game where it could arrest players and it didn't rest players. Those kind of things. So it kind of even out where I'm not calling him a crap manager, but I'm not calling him a bad manager. Kind of in the balance, and I want him to start to go more in line where you're showing me the because in my humble opinion, like Salah is a problem. Be that manager, have that confidence to say, well, Salah, now you mentioned now Wirtz, you mentioned Isak, no Ekitike, and that's how you deal with the personalities in our club. And if you have those so-called favorites, those big egos like Wirtz, Frimpong, Isak, will start to turn the dressing room, because they will pick corners and say, well, I playing better than Salah and he not coming off. Why I coming off? Yeah, and you don't want that as a manager. So I liken that balance right now, and I hope Slot doesn't continue with this rut, because it will get hard for me, and I don't want to to come out and here and saying slot out, because I have seen a sample size where he can do it, but for the majority since he turned the new year, I ain't seen it as much as how I want to see it. So,
got you. Proof is in the pudding. Yeah, proof is in the pudding. All right. Well, I've said this before because it's something my father would always tell me, and that is when things start to fall apart, go back to basics. Right now, this Liverpool team is wide open from back to front. Pause. We're giving away too many chances and putting pressure on ourselves to score 3, 4, 5 goals every week just to have a chance of winning. That's not sustainable per se. At least with the way that we're set up, at least. And yet we're also playing with restrictors on offensively, I think, personally, because I think that we spoke on how the number 9s in our team are not getting service the way that they should be getting it. And now, even though our emphasis has always been, or for the last, I don't know, I'd say 7, 8 years, has been more emphasis of our wingers being the scorers on our teams. We're not really getting the production out of them either as well. So if you can't tighten up defensively, then at least go full throttle or something going forward. Figure out a way to become that offensive juggernaut that teams have to play catch up to you rather than us playing catch up to them. And it's something that I don't know if we're going to. I just say commit to something. That's what I want to have an identity created amongst this team, and I that's something that I don't see presently. There's no reason to panic yet, as Nalante and JP and I think even Leah said, there's no reason to panic. Those people are just slot outs. They're just looking for, they're either trolls or they're just looking to be the, I'm the Mr. Know-it-all type guy in the group. Just let them go when it comes to listening to them. But improvement has to come quickly if we want to stay in touch of Arsenal and City. Right now, both of those sides look complete or look more central or more together with the identity of their team than we do. And our conflicted state is an issue. So Slot has to find that balance. And I'm trusting. Look, I'm not only trusting, but it's all we can do is trust him, and that he'll figure it out. And he has to find it out. He has to find out fast.
Yeah,
so,
real quick, because I mean those next couple of games, and I think Gravenberch injured as well. I'm not sure. So that's my worry that my best midfielder now out, and we in this crisis thing here. So
who do you start? Who do you play?
That's a fucking nightmare, isn't it? That's a nightmare if we were out Grav for any length of time.
Yeah.
I mean, one game's bad enough, but any more than that, and we really are in the mire.
Real quick then, if Grav is injured, or even if he's not injured, but you want to be precautionary and not press him into, because he was technically brought out of that national team game. Holland,
45.
And so obviously he's not 100%. No player ever is really, but you know what I mean, as close as possible as he could be. And in this game, he picks up a knock that maybe sets him a little bit further off of pace with where he wants to be physically. If that's the case, then maybe you do give him a rest, because I mean we've got a lot of games coming up in the next couple of days. So maybe you do give him a rest. Who takes his spot in that starting lineup for you? I'll go Nalante, JP, and then Lee real quick. And you can give why if you want as well.
You know what? I was saying about if he had more game time, but he's too cold, and I know everyone will be against me. Everyone will be against me. The name I'm going to say would be Endo.
No. I'm wearing a Japan jersey. Come on.
Yeah, CJK, yeah. But it's not going to happen. Only for the fact of that, listen, I know he's old, but and stuff. And yeah, next season he's going to go in the summer. He's going to go, no problem. But listen, at least with Endo, again.
By the way, that's not definite. You have a reason. Finish your thoughts.
Yeah.
definitely reason.
Because Endo, yes, he's not the quickest, but sometimes in football you don't need to be the quickest. You just need to have the game intelligence. And for me, he's a guy who's going to put his foot in, at least stay in his position. That's what we need to do. I'm not saying, he has to start every game, but right now that's what we just need. Someone to just sit there. Yeah, just to sit there, tackle. And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do 30-yard pass. The team, every player has different production. Give it to sub or whatever, stuff like that. So that would be me. But I think the three of us know that he ain't gonna go there. He's gonna be playing Jones, I'm guessing. So yeah.
That's a shout. And I could argue, or I could back up your argument to say this. A, he performed well in the Bundesliga, obviously. As a team that we're going to be, it's not like, these teams that you can't handle the pace of the Premier League. You're not playing a Premier League team.
Yeah.
You can make an argument that he has the ability to perform against a team in the Bundesliga. He also has you can make an argument that he would be a natural role filler to solidify our defense and also create an anchor for our DM in that role.
Yeah.
That's a solid shout. I know you're gonna have probably some people in the comments calling you crazy. I'm calling me crazy too.
No, I mean they will call me crazy too because and this is what I said.
Are you about to say the same?
No, so this is what I was saying with the sample size. So let me just give the context, and that's what I was saying with the sample size with the slot thing is that if you can't play a Japanese captain international in games where there are certain different tactics that we will need, then what's the point you being a manager in my club? Then there's no rotation. Then we'll build up. And that's what I was saying last season, where slot kind of let me down, where the sample size coming more on the down, is because we had PSG to play. We have Southampton to play in the Premier League at Anfield. And you're telling me you can't put Endo in a system where we can just see how they win so that Gravenberch and my midfielders can get a rest and see how the PSG game and win the league. So Nalante is right. We don't have to slot wants to play this kind of tiki-taka football with Endo, but that's not Endo. Just set up the system where Endo just doing his work, doing the dog work, and just pass the ball to Furtz and let them do the thing. And we good. And that's the reason why I'm saying, as a manager, you need to have different styles of play so that when you go to various teams, it's not the same thing you're doing, so that players can get a rest, players will get injured, and we not a fish out of water when somebody down or like that. So I agree with both of you, and that was one of the reasons why I said Endo and these guys are internationals. If you as a manager can't take an international footballer and put a temporary system for now, then I have to be questioning you as a manager, because all these guys played good on international duty, all of them, right? So you just have to change the system for one game, and then you say, all right, I'll get back my full complement of players and I play my style of football. So that's a good shout, Nalante, but what he will go with is Jones and Szoboszlai. So
JP, facts,
That's who you see. Who would you want, JP, in that role though?
As I said, I would want to see an enforcer. We are away from home. So we're going to get pressure from Frankfurt. So I would want to see somebody protecting the back four. So an enforcer like Endo, we have our warrior, our Japanese warrior. And you put somebody like either Szoboszlai or Curtis Jones to control the midfield to help him. So when he gets the ball, he doesn't have to play these. So once Endo get the ball, his instruction is find an outlet quickly, and you just break up as it. So
okay. Lee, you're up. You get to tell us if Gravy is not at the level or not at the fitness level that we would like him, or maybe it's just a fact of, let's just say we're being precautionary and we want to just be precautionary in the sense of, it's only been 3 days since we just played our last game and he came out for a knock, what would you do? What would you do with that?
Well, what are our choices if Gravenberch isn't fit? It's McAllister, who we all think's not fit and playing badly. Szoboszlai or Jones, isn't it, in that position? So Endo would seem a sensible choice if that's what happened, like if we didn't have Gravenberch, but knowing Slot, he'd probably just move McAllister back into that role and have Szoboszlai next to him, but I don't think we're going to dig our way out of trouble like that. So, I don't know, it is a real worry. I just hope it's just a small knock for Ryan.
Oh, absolutely. Hope it's nothing. Hope it's just like a,
Yeah, because we're going to be in shit if we can't play. I mean, Jones did okay coming on as a sub in this game, like, and playing in Ryan's place. But for a full game, I'm not sure how good he can be in that role. And I was never convinced by McAllister in the role. Remember the summer when we bought McAllister and Endo and Szoboszlai, and the start of the season, he didn't want to put Endo in. He put McAllister there. I thought we looked weak as piss, like with McAllister in the six. Early on in that season, it was only when Endo actually got into the swing of things that we looked better.
We did. So we looked actually. We were in the best form when Endo was our DM. To be honest with you, during that year, during that campaign, that was possibly the best form that we were in shape and form that we're in with Endo.
Yeah, it's only to find a compromise, like where he could maybe play Endo.
It wasn't until the hack, aka Caicedo, telling you, I do not like Caicedo. I'm sorry. If you are going to call it an agenda, but he is a hack. He took out Gravenberch in that game too, by the way. Just telling you. Just saying. And it wasn't even close to being a legitimate foul. That was a hack job. But all the same. But he's the best DM in the world. No, just joking. Anyhow. Well, all right. Up next, we'll preview the trip to Germany. I'm sure we'll get into that tomorrow because our game is on Wednesday. Maybe and hopefully we can find some redemption on the European stage. Please drop your Frankfurt 11 in the chat, like who you think we're going to play, who's going to be the team for you, whether if you are going to take precaution and drop Gravenberch, then tell us who you see being in that role. But all the same, I appreciate the panel. Big up to JK, who had to step out, but appreciate that. Big up to JP stepping in, stepping up, like we want a lot of our players to do and our coach to do as well. JP stepped up today and definitely gave some really good insight. Appreciate that as well. Shout out to Lee. Big up, Lee. Holding it down. Scouts in the house. Big up. And Nalante, of course, definitely taking a moment because Nalante's a busy man. So, appreciate Nalante helping out as well. Big up to you, Nalante.
Oh, good. Oh, man. All the time.
Yeah, do you guys want to say a quick shout before we wrap up? It's at the 11 o'clock spot in the UK. Do you want to say something, Nalante?
Yeah, not much. Obviously, big up yourself. Big up JP. Obviously, on this side, big yourself up, JP, all the time, man. Big up the chat, and yeah, man, we just move, and I'm looking for more confrontation with the slot out fraudsters, and yeah, man, let's get back to winning ways, man. Just give me an Isak hat trick, and yeah, works double, and then let's roll the motions.
I don't want to sound like Taken, but it's like good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to put some
That's how I feel when I hear hat trick. I'm like,
I know.
Hat tricks.
I know. I mean, what are goals? Let's go goal these days.
Yeah. JP, you want to give a shout out?
Just a pleasure. I mean, I think this is the first time I was on your stream, 12th, man. We did streams on Bayesian TV and with Kwasi and stuff. And well, I see Nalante and Lee on stream with them with Irishman as well, right? But always a pleasure with these guys. I really like the Liverpool fan community, so it's always good to come and share these kind of similar insight. And especially when we agree to disagree, there is still sign of common ground in terms of we can support Liverpool no matter what. And you never walk alone, and that's the key. So always glad to be here, and I hope we could do it again sometime.
Definitely appreciate it. Lee,
100%.
last but not least, Mr. Lee, do you want to say a shout out?
Yeah, just cheers to everyone in chat. Cheers for turning up and adding your thoughts. Just keep the faith, isn't it, everybody? We've got to keep the faith, and this we will do until things turn around.
Okay, all right. Like Lee coming in like Russell Simmons a little bit there at the end, like Def Jam. All right, we'll keep it like that too. All right, let's say big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to the panel once again. Check us out tomorrow for our preview. And as always, up the Reds. And like Russell Simmons would say, good night and God bless.
All right.
Peace.